Good evening. Welcome to our annual Student Community Service Awards Town Board meeting. This is a very special annual event. We're always so excited to be able to recognize some of our outstanding students that are here with us this evening. I would like to begin by asking this gentleman right here, very handsome young man, if you would stand and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And everyone, please join. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, sir. We're so very fortunate in our town to be the home to so many standout schools and students. And tonight we celebrate 11 future leaders who have demonstrated student excellence and made positive contributions in our community. You know, we have a number of school superintendents that are here, and I'd just like to run through the list because I think it means a lot that they take the time outside of the school day to come down here to support their students in their achievements. And so I'm going to begin, if you would just stand and be recognized. Dr. Wanda Ortiz Rivera from Brentwood. She was here earlier today. Dr. Sharon Dungy from Central Islip. Dr. Paul Romanelli from West Islip. And Dr. Joseph Centamori from Connecticut. And we also have some school principals with us. From Bayshore, we have Steve Gordon. Steve. Bayport, Blue Point, Jamal Walcott. From Brentwood Freshman Center, Rinaldo Lattori. From Brentwood Ross and Sonderling, Dr. Deshana Doolin. From Central Islip, Eric Haruthunian. What do you think? Did I butcher it?
It's fine.
Oh, okay. Oh, and I see you should have told me that. From Sayville, Stephanie Bricker. And from Islip, traveling the shortest distance, Lisa Ward. Again, I want to thank the superintendents and principals who really took the time to be here and supporting their students. I'm going to have the town board join me at the podium as we prepare to recognize these truly amazing students. And I will ask each student to join us at the podium when you hear your name. And after a quick photo, if you would just, with the town board, just head to the other side of the boardroom because we'll get a group photo afterwards. So we will begin with Councilman O'Connor to come read the first set of honorees from Central Islip and East Islip schools. Councilman O'Connor?
Thank you, Supervisor Carpenter. Josiah Garcia is an accomplished AP scholar and is ranked in the top 5 of the class of 2025, all while continuing to assist in community functions. Josiah, why don't you come up here? Thank you for leading us in the pledge, too.
Right, he does a mean job of that, too.
Yeah. He has devoted his time to Central Islip School District's My Brother's Keeper initiative, becoming a fellow and community liaison for the initiative, and further inspiring his peers. Josiah also provides input and feedback on school district initiatives from a student perspective, allowing these programs to be more effectively applied. Josiah is an exemplary role model and a dedicated student. Congratulations. Thank you.
sorry.
Congratulations.
I'm sorry.
You're good, you're good.
Michael Donlin. Michael Donlin from East Islip High School. Michael Donlin has been committed to volunteering with numerous organizations that aim to help others. He has dedicated himself to providing support at the Islip Exchange Ambulance Corporation for the past 1.5 years, St. Mary's Church in East Islip, as well as the last 2 summers with Comfort Zone Camp as a counselor for children who have lost family members, and the last 4 summers with Kids Need More, also as a counselor. And for the last 2 summers, he has also volunteered at Sunrise Camp, which provides support for children with cancer. For years now, Michael has donated his time and effort to help others. Congratulations.
Moving right along. Thank you, Councilman O'Connor. And now, if Councilman Guadrone would join me at the podium as we recognize the next honorees.
Thank you, Supervisor Carpenter. Good evening, everyone. Buenas tardes todos. Gabriela Moreta, please come up. Gabriela is an outstanding student, specifically in her role in the Honors United States History and Government classes. Gabriela is actively involved in her school and her community, participating in a variety of activities, including volunteering in extra help programs and participating in a plethora of clubs and honor societies. She was also an active member of the Town of Islip Ambassador Program, which focuses on educating students about inclusion, diversity, and equality. Gabriela completed all 4 sessions, becoming a Peace Ambassador for the Brentwood School District. Congratulations, felicidades. Congratulations, please go ahead.
I just asked her how she liked the ambassador program, and I see Marianne Pfeiffer here, who helped run that. It is an incredible program, and Gabriella said she really, really loved it. So we're going to have you come speak about it one day.
And I would like to invite Zaira Quadri to come up, please. Zaira, now a senior, has been dedicated to her school and community throughout her high school career. Her involvement with the ROTC underscores her commitment with countless volunteer hours, including the Thanksgiving food distribution. In addition, she tutors students through her multiple honor societies, as well as teaching younger children the fundamentals of fencing. Congratulations. This way, please.
And our next group of honorees is from Bayport Blue Point and Sayville High School, and I'd ask Councilman Lorenzo to please come up.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. Good evening, all. Dylan Bocal, come on up. Dylan Bocal is an outstanding student. Dylan's an outstanding student who excels in both his studies and numerous extracurricular activities, including the varsity football team and the annual musical. He also demonstrates a strong commitment to community service through his active involvement with the Christopher Coluccio Foundation. Dylan's leadership skills and dedication to both his school and community have shown through his many roles within school and beyond. Thank you, Dylan. Congratulations. Can Grace Garofalo please come on up? Grace is a generous and active student and community member. She has consistently served her school and community through efforts with the following clubs and initiatives, which include Girl Scouts, National Honor Society, Rho Kappa Honor Society, National Art Honor Society, Student Government, World Language Honor Society, Anchor Club, Peer Leaders, and Stage Crew. That was a lot. On top of this, Grace still volunteers planting flowers in the common grounds in Sayville and at the Sayville Soup Kitchen, as well as the Sayville Food Pantry. As an advanced placement student, Grace has always strived to maintain top grades and be a good role model and a wonderful student. Congratulations, Grace. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you, Councilman. And now we move on to Councilman McElroy, who will be recognizing students from Bayshore and Islip High School.
Good afternoon. Gianna Lucy Lagardelle. Did I pronounce that right? Gianna Luce. Gianna Luce has been involved in several leadership and scholarly programs with her high school, including Hello Ambassadors, which is involved in welcoming new ELL students to the school, as well as Junior Leadership Committee through Northwell Health for future student leaders, and Pathways for aspiring teen healthcare scholars. Also through Northwell, Gianna has continued to volunteer and consistently assist students and families alike. Congratulations. Isabella Dragos. Isabella has been involved in a wide array of service activities in the community and at her school. She has served as a cantor at St. Patrick's Church in Bayshore and has also served as a mentor to underclassmen as part of Islip High School's Buccaneer University. Isabella is a member of several honor societies and has provided services to both the school and her community, completing more than 200 service hours throughout her high school career. Congratulations, Isabella.
Thank you, Councilman. And now we will move on to the Brentwood Freshman Center and would ask Isaiah Hayes to come forward. Isaiah is dedicated to community service and leadership, as has been shown by the countless hours he spends volunteering at the Brentwood Public Library, where he assists visitors of all ages as well as supporting outreach efforts and programs. Additionally, he is actively involved in several clubs, including the Travelers Club, the National Junior Honor Society, and the Diamond Art Club, as well as participating in the Friendship Club, where he helped create no-sew blankets for pediatric cancer patients at Good Samaritan Hospital. Isaiah's consistent volunteer efforts demonstrate selflessness and a strong commitment to his community and have made a lasting positive impact on those around him. Congratulations, Isaiah. Okay. Just want to make sure we've got the right order here. Next, we have Alexandra Martorella. Alexandra is an intelligent and humble student who has showcased her drive, wit, and dedication through her volunteer work with the local organization Beacon House. As someone who has consistently prioritized the well-being of our cherished veterans, she is so very compassionate and kind-hearted and becoming an indispensable force of positivity in her school. Congratulations, Alexandra. We had one student who was not able to be here, but I would like to talk about Jenna Zachman from Connecticut High School, who is dedicated to supporting and guiding her peers, mentoring other students and younger soccer players so that they can feel welcomed and valued. She serves as the treasurer for the SAD Club, where she actively contributes to initiatives that promote mental health awareness. Jenna has volunteered for the Mental Health 5K Run at Connecticut High School and played a key role in the PS I Love You movement, a basketball tournament, while also participating in the Drug and Alcohol Task Force, where she visits elementary schools to educate younger students on the important topics like bullying and drug prevention. Her kindness and compassion are evident through every aspect of her life. She was unable to join us in person tonight, but we will make sure she gets her award. Again, if everyone would join in saluting all of these students, we are so very, very proud of all of them. We're so very proud to have so many inspiring members of our community, and I think after hearing all of those little bios tonight, we're in good hands in our future here in the town of Islip, so congratulations. This concludes our honoree portion, and we just have a few announcements. Earlier today, I delivered my annual State of the Town address, reflecting on the programs we've made over the past decade. I encourage you to watch it on our website or Islip's social media platforms. In addition to looking back, we're also looking ahead to exciting opportunities for our residents. One of these is our summer job walk-in interview event happening on Tuesday, April 15th. If you or someone you know is looking for seasonal employment, and it could be a parent because we've had that in the past, visit islipny.gov/part-time jobs for more details on the available positions. Another important event coming up is our TOI 360 Community Workshop this Thursday, April 10th at 6 p.m., taking place at the Joyce Fitzpatrick Center in East Islip at the Brookwood Hall campus. This workshop is a vital step in shaping the future of our town for the next 20 years and beyond. We will be focusing on the communities of Islip, East Islip, Islip Terrace, North Great River, and Great River. Your voice is a key part of this planning process, and we want to hear from you. And this is the initiative of the town's comprehensive plan encompassing the entire township of Islip. There have been a series of workshops around the town. This document is a living document. We have not done an exercise like this in over 50 years, and I salute our planning department for taking it on. For a fun community event, don't miss our movie night this Friday, drive-in movie night, April 11th, featuring Peter Rabbit. It's a perfect way to get into the spring spirit with family and friends. And as we head into spring, I want to take this moment to wish everyone a happy and joyful Easter and a happy Passover. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you at the upcoming events. Thank you.
Where'd she go? She's going to call her.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call this meeting of the Islip Town Board to order. We're going to begin this afternoon with 2 scheduled public hearings, and I would ask the town clerk to please read the first hearing notice.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. Item number 1, to consider amending Islip Town Code, Chapter 68.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on this public hearing? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to close the public hearing and adopt the resolution.
We have a motion and a second. Motion by Councilman McElway, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Thank you. We will move to the second hearing notice, please, Town Clerk.
Item number 2, to consider repeal local law number 1 of 2021, local law to opt out of allowing cannabis retail dispensaries on-site consumption sites as authorized under Cannabis Law Article 4.
Thank you, Linda. We have a number of speakers who have signed up to speak on this particular public hearing. I just want to remind everyone you have 3 minutes. There's a timer. And our first speaker, Cornelia Muntean.
Ready?
You may begin.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cornelia Muntean.
If you would just speak right into the
Yes.
microphone, please, so that we can hear you.
Okay. My name is Cornelia Muntean. I'm a pediatric emergency doctor at Good Samaritan University Hospital, and I'm also a mother of 2.
All right. Just wait a second. I'll wait till everyone comes in so we can close the door and everyone can hear the speaker. Quickly, if everyone could take a seat. All right, I think you should begin. If you could start from the beginning.
Okay.
Your name.
So my name is Cornelia Muntean. I'm a pediatric emergency physician at Good Samaritan University Hospital in West Islip, and I'm also a mother of 2 girls. I will be discussing tonight the effects of cannabis products on our bodies, including both mental and physical health, as well as the associated risks such as impaired driving, addiction, and increased risk of mental health issues. This is all facts. As we know, studies show that cannabis use can have long and short-term effects on our body and mind. In short term, can cause altered mental status, leading to impaired judgment, decreased coordination, in some cases, acute anxiety and paranoia. These immediate effects can contribute to dangerous behavior such as impaired driving, which poses significant risks not only to the individuals but to others on the road. Long-term use of cannabis products, particularly when initiated at young age, can result in more severe consequences. This include dependency or addictions, cognitive impairment, and increased risk of developing mental health disorders such as depression, anxiety, and in some cases, psychosis. Chronic use can also lead to physical health issues such as respiratory problems and cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, which is a common condition we often see in the emergencies characterized by severe and persistent vomiting. These cannabis-containing products oftentimes resemble common treats, which may be very appealing to our children because they can be in the form of cookies, candies, or gummies. Studies shown and have been done extensive research on this, and a study conducted by American Academy of Pediatrics and the CDC from 2017 to 2022 revealed that in children less than 5 years of age, there's been an increase in 44% in accidental ingestion of cannabis products. At Good Samaritan Hospital, we have observed a significant rise in the number of young children that present to the emergency with severe symptoms such as altered mental status, respiratory depression, and in some cases requiring mechanical ventilations. These children undergo extensive testings and painful procedures. They will require admission to intensive care units. And it's only after we have urine toxicology results are available that confirm cannabis ingestion. In addition, they often come in addition to the young children, we also have a lot of teenagers coming in, young adults, 11, 12-year-old, coming from school with altered mental status, agitation, and psychotic episodes, which are later attributed to cannabis consumption. While some teenagers recover quickly and are discharged home the same day, others experience severe psychosis requiring inpatient psychiatric hospitalization. Furthermore,
You're going to have to wrap up.
Okay, we have noticed an increase in hypercannabis syndrome, which is characterized by intractable vomiting, which led to extensive hospitalizations. In our hospital, for the past 10 years, we had a 400 increase in ED visits alone related to ingestion of cannabis products. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Next speaker, David Tubins.
Good evening, members of the board, neighbors, and community leaders. My name is Dr. David Tubins. I'm here today not only as a supporter of the cannabis reform, but as a long-standing member of the Islip community, both a property owner and business owner who's proudly invested in the future of this town. Over the years, I've worked hard to eliminate dangerous, dilapidated buildings that were once a blight on our neighborhoods. In their place, I've helped bring thriving, community-driven developments like M&T Bank, modern medical facilities, and space that provide real value, safety, and jobs to our residents. I care deeply about this town, and I've proven that through action. Today, I'm urging you to consider another meaningful step forward for Islip, opting in for legal cannabis. Let's begin with simple truth. Cannabis is here already. Cannabis is here already. So the question is whether the question isn't whether people will consume it, it's how we want them to access it. Do we want it sold safely, legally, and responsibly? Or do we want to keep pushing people toward illegal, unregulated sources that don't check IDs, don't test products, and don't contribute to a single dime to our community? I am one of the owners of Planet Nug Dispensary in Farmingdale, and we already see a large percentage of our customers come from the Islip community. So let's talk about public safety. Illegal dispensaries are highly regulated, required by law to verify age, follow strict security measures, and provide safe, lab-tested products. These regulations combat the dangerous gray market where untested products flood the streets, often sold to our children. The reality is there are dozens of illegal pot shops already operating in Islip right now. Opting in gives us the power to shut them down and protect our community. You'll hear a lot of people tonight say that they don't want drugs in their town, but the reality is it's already here. Let's be real. The gray market thrives in towns that opt out. Why? Because when there is no legal alternative, illegal shops fill the void. The bottom line is regulation is the key to enforcement. Did you know that recent studies show that towns where cannabis is legal and regulated, there's a significant decline in disruption of illicit hard drugs in those towns? Let's talk now about tax revenue. Across New York towns that opted in received a substantial share of cannabis tax. The money is being reinvested in our schools, public services, and infrastructures and community programs. Why would we turn away funding that could help fix so many of our challenges? And finally, let's talk about jobs. The cannabis industry creates real, substantial employment, local jobs for local people with long-term careers in the nation's fastest growing industry. To opt out is to opt out of progress, safer communities, job creation, vital tax revenue, and those are all the tools we need to bring down the illicit operators. Islip deserves better. Let's move forward with integrity, transparency, and the reality that cannabis isn't a threat to our opportunity. In closing, I'd like to say I'm the husband and a father. I would never stand before you supporting something I truly did not believe in and would not make this community safer.
Tubins.
Thank you very much.
Next speaker, Quinn Whitehead.
There's people outside.
Quinn Whitehead. Yeah, okay.
Good morning, Town of Islip. My name is Tiana Whitehead. I'm the president of Students Against Destructive Decisions. This is Quinn Philippe. We will be talking about our opinion about cannabis dispensaries.
Good afternoon, Town of Islip. Can anyone here think of a story that started with access to cannabis and ended well? Well, if you have to think deeply and most likely dismiss stories where the opposite is true, then my point has already been proven. One of the main reasons we are even gathered here today is because of the belief that creating cannabis dispensaries will bring a lot more money to my town. However, if we really think about it, there are many things that are currently legal that could bring a lot of revenue to our town, such as prostitution, which is currently legal in Nevada. This brings the question of where exactly do we draw the line? I am certain that as a town, we are not in such a need for money that we would completely disregard our morals for a little more revenue. We have beautiful buildings, houses by the beach, and so many other ways in which investing this money could better our community rather than harm it, such as the high probability that people are most likely not waiting until they're home to consume the drug, and are most likely doing so whilst driving, which increases the possibility of accidents on roads. This may be a big what if, but is it one that we really want to risk? I don't think so. We are also a town with many school districts, meaning that the majority of the town are children who are way under the age limit to even be exposed to such things. Teenagers now already have somewhat access to these drugs. So what certainty do we have that bringing these dispensaries will simply give easier access to all kids? Are we completely sure that there will be constant ID checks upon selling of this drug? That children won't have any access to it at all? The opening of these dispensaries marks our town as a pro-weed community, which we all know not to be true, meaning that to go through with this is to go against all the parents that do not support it. The National Library of Medicine made a study that proves that 44.7% of individuals with lifetime cannabis use progress to other illicit drugs use at some times in their life, meaning that people with access to cannabis not only get hooked onto it, but they start to want more. The question at the end of the day is not about the money, but about our community. What do we want for our town? Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Elizabeth Rosanna, or Rosano, or Rosario.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Rosario, and I have spent most of my life in the town of Islip. I was born at Good Sam. I was raised in Islip Terrace. I played club soccer. I graduated from East Islip, and now my wife and I live in Carlton, right off Carlton Avenue at the new Belmont apartment complex. I come to you today not just as one of your residents, but as a seasoned professional in the legal cannabis industry. My role as State Director of Retail has given me boots on the ground and hands-on perspective on the endeavor we're here today to discuss. I've run dispensaries netting over $55 million alone annually, hired and trained hundreds of cannabis industry employees, and I've operationally led adult use launch for dispensaries in New Jersey, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Maryland. Today I'm here in hopes to offer my unique perspective on what it could look like to launch AU sales in the town of Islip. With that said, I have narrowed my points down on your most main concerns. Firstly, The tax revenue is not an exaggeration. My one store in New Jersey generated over $2.2 million in the first year of cannabis sales. This is in a state that only allows the town to take 2%. We're allowed to take 3 and 1 for Suffolk County. Secondly, and probably most important, is the minor and underage sales protecting our community. I'm equally concerned about the underage community gaining access to cannabis products. But legal dispensaries are not the enemy. They're the solution. Legal and licensed dispensaries are required to have written and submitted standard operating procedures to ensure that people under the age of 21 don't get in. Dispensaries can easily obtain any ID verification software like Veriscan that is required for entry. We can partner with local law enforcement for any suspicious behaviors resulting in diversion of product to an underage person. And from the friends that I have in law enforcement, they need assistance in determining what is legal and what is not. We can implement a labeling system to track any confiscated products back to the original purchase through the state's new seed-to-sale system, BioTrack THC. Illegal cannabis sales are happening right now as I stand here and talk to you. I've seen them. They're in our local CBD shops, they're at the gas station, they're on the streets. It's already happening. But Supervisor, with all due respect, they don't care about your permission. We do. We would like your blessing on this. The products that are being sold in the illicit market are dangerous, unregulated, and often crossing in from state lines. Legal, especially dispensary options, puts illicit cannabis out of business by taking away their customer. Nobody wants to shop where it's not legal. We would prefer to go into a clean, beautiful dispensary that one of our residents put their life savings and all their heart into. As a contingency for licensing, New York State licensed dispensaries are required to develop. No problem.
Okay, thank
Can
you
I
very
ask
much.
one question?
No, this is not question and answer. It's just your opportunity to make your comments.
Okay, I just want to know if you want to do this the right way or the wrong way.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Thank you. Next speaker. You go. You know, we have a lot of speakers, and I appreciate the enthusiasm and wanting to applaud the speakers, but if you could condense it so that we can keep this moving along. You go, Renus. Thank you.
Hello, how you doing? Thank you. Sorry, I get nervous. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. My name is Hugo Rivas. I'm the Vice President of the Long Island Cannabis Coalition. Well, basically, I wrote a big speech today, but I want to be more direct with you today. I've been trying to reach out to you since last year just to kind of have the conversation about cannabis and the effects on the community and stuff and such. And I still haven't got the phone call back from you, so I would like that opportunity. I think information is very crucial at this time. We're trying to run away from a problem that's not a problem because, in a sense, it exists. Cannabis is here. It's legal. And if we think about it, right, I'm a resident from Central Islip. We're lacking a lot of funds and a lot of things in Central Islip and in Brentwood. And for some reason, this is like we're not seeing the light that this is an opportunity to kind of like get those projects and fund them. So this is a great opportunity for that. I'm sorry I get nervous when I'm up here, so my apologies for being off. My whole point is this. I live in Central Islip for like all my life. I see what's going on in the streets. We have a lot of dispensaries, illegal dispensaries that are going on. This is a conversation that we would like to speak to you about. And again, I know that you really don't really care because you haven't answered back to me in that sense. But I would like to have this conversation because they're affecting our kids. I've been seeing kids go inside these smoke shops, purchasing illegal stuff and everything, and there's nothing being done about it. We're here with an answer to that problem. Dispensaries, they are a solution. They bring revenue to the community. They're safe because you can't even walk inside. Right now, if you're a kid, you could go to 7-Eleven, you could steal a beer from the thing, and that's okay. In the dispensary, you can't even walk inside because you have to show ID before you can even walk in the doors. The stuff that's displayed on the stuff is there. It's not even. It's only packaging, so you don't even have access to it. Everything is in bolts. Everything is secure. So there's a lot of positives in the sense of having dispensaries because they do protect our children. They don't allow nobody to go in there, so they're not going to be able to purchase it. But yet, they go down Carlton Avenue, go down 111, go down Suffolk Avenue. You could go purchase cannabis there if you're a kid. So why are we not doing things about that? This is a solution for that. I know a lot of the residents here are going to argue the point that smoking and that's another issue for them. There are solutions for that as well. We literally have a whole list of things that we want to provide you. We will provide you today. And just kind of like to address those concerns. Again, cannabis is here, it's legal. We're not taking advantage of the tax revenue, and we're allowing Redhead to take advantage of it, Babylon, and it's our money, and then we're losing out on the stuff that we could do here in Central Islip and Brentwood. I think that's not correct. Please look at that, and let's find solutions. And again, my apologies for being so nervous.
Thank you. Next speaker, Paul Romanelli.
Good evening, Supervisor Carpenter and members of the Town of Islip Council. I'm here with a number of the Board of Education members from West Islip Union Free School District. Ms. Christina Marks is here, Ms. Debbie Brown, Mr. Peter McCann. I know you've received some letters from other superintendents in the Town of Islip as well, so I'm here tonight to echo some of those sentiments as well. The West Islip Union Free School District strongly opposes allowing cannabis retail sales within the Town of Islip. We urge the town to vote no on the resolution to permit dispensaries to open within the boundaries of Islip. No amount of limitations can protect our students from the potential harms resulting from these types of businesses. The safety and well-being of our communities, particularly our students, must be given top priority over financial gain when considering whether to allow these establishments to be open in the town. When I first began working in the town of Islip, and more specifically the West Islip community, I was amazed by the true importance of family values that was present. This is a special place, and having been someone that has worked and lived across Long Island, it should not be understated how special the town of Islip really is. And that is thanks to all of the work that each of you put in every day and the dedication of the families and community members that you see here tonight. We in the West Islip schools feel that it is short-sighted to push something truly special like that aside for potential financial gain. Additionally, we're concerned about the potential locations of cannabis dispensaries. The New York State Office of Cannabis Management states that retail dispensaries must not be located on the same road and within 500 feet of schools and their grounds. The town of Islip has indicated that it expects that, should it opt in, it would allow dispensaries only in industrial zoned areas. A mere 500 feet from a school or road it is located on does not do enough to protect our students. And no one should be under the false impression that industrial zone properties are not located near schools. The potential proximity can provide not only access to minors, but expose them to an environment where the normalization of drug use is present. The easy accessibility of cannabis can cause vulnerable children to see its use as more acceptable. So with all that being said, we strongly urge the town of Islip to continue to opt out of allowing dispensaries to be located within its borders. The potential problems associated with these businesses far surpass the benefit of any revenue that may be gained. As always, thank you for your support of our students and of West Islip schools.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, Matt from West Islip.
Hi, it's Peter McCann. Thank you, Supervisor Carpenter and Councilor people. Peter McCann, also a school board of West Islip, but a community member in West Islip for over 55 years. Volunteer with about 20 different organizations within West Islip. My wife and I, including the Chamber of Commerce, the Historical Society, all of the PTAs, and all of the sports programs there. I speak to you as Dr. Romanelli had mentioned. The hamlet of West Islip really is a residential community. 90% of our school tax revenue comes from residents, so we don't have a large industrial base there. The amount of revenue that's going to be generated or proposed to be generated from the cannabis dispensaries in the town is not something that's attractive to us. What's going on in the town currently is if it goes through and they can be opened in industrial parts of it, in the hamlet of West Islip, almost 90% of the area that's deemed as industrial is in walking distance to a school. In West Islip, we have 4,000 students in our district. It's the core of our community. We've got 4 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and a high school, 4,000 students, 8,000 parents, and all of these sports programs that revolve around the community. That is the core of our community. Bringing the cannabis dispensaries into that community, it would be disruptive. You know, some of the arguments are, if it's legal, it'll help vet out the illegal groups. I don't find merit to that. The illegal groups, we have a fantastic Suffolk County and police department. We have wonderful law enforcement that if it's going on illegally, they'll vet them out either way. Having access and visibility of dispensaries in and around our school districts just will promote to the younger groups. There's nothing to stop children from getting access to any illegal substances that they want. Having more visibility will just encourage that even more. We found it in our town with some of the gas stations and things that are offering these illegal substances. They get access to it. Having visibility and putting it into their face, right in the visibility of our schools, will only encourage that. So we strongly recommend not to vote to allow the Islip town to open legal dispensaries. And again, it's not a business. I come from the business community. I get what the business people are saying from the revenue, but it's not worth exposing our children in our town to that, especially in our hamlet of West Islip, where the entire town is centered around our school district and our schools and our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCran. Neil Kaufman.
Good evening. Thanks for having me this evening. My name is Neil Kaufman. I'm the managing partner of Kaufman McGowan. We are one of the leading corporate cannabis law firms in New York State, and in fact, one of the leading corporate cannabis law firms in the entire country, located right here in Hauppauge. Putting aside the numerous six-figure jobs that we provide, that the industry provides for our firm, other law firms, other accounting firms, I also want to let you know I'm on the board of directors of the Long Island Cannabis Coalition, which is a not-for-profit organization devoted to enhancing the cannabis industry here on Long Island. The bottom line is we have the infrastructure here, right here locally, to help our cannabis entrepreneurs run fully legally compliant businesses in a professional manner that will be an asset to our community. We've done it in other places. We will do it here. I'm personally committed to doing it here and helping in any way possible. We put at the Long Island Cannabis Coalition, we put on educational content and provide the infrastructure to help our members, which will be the licensed store owners, to run excellent businesses. They make charitable contributions, they provide jobs. They're the good guys. The reality is, cannabis is a $300 billion worldwide industry, and until recently, it's been illegal almost everywhere, and so it's been run by criminal cartels and gangs. Every dollar that is generated in a state legal cannabis store is a dollar we take away from the gangs and the illegal crime syndicates. Obviously, the town can generate a significant amount of revenue. Just back of the envelope, maybe even $30 million a year. That'll be a great thing, but that's not even the most important thing. There'll be other revenue sources as well that you can get from the state that you can tap into once you opt in. But listening to some of the concerns expressed here, I just want to point out a few quick things. Number one, nobody in the state legal industry wants cannabis in the hands of minors. It's illegal. Everyone is screened at the door, and it doesn't happen in the legal industry. This is not the gas station at the corner selling weed. This is all regulated, tested, free of pesticides, free of fentanyl. I don't know about you, but if my daughter is going to buy cannabis, and you can anywhere, any kid on Long Island that wants it can find it, I'd much rather buy it in a legal store, well lit, tested, than from some dealer that's going to try to upsell her on fentanyl. Most importantly, in jurisdictions that have legalized cannabis, there's a 25% reduction in opioid overdose deaths. So the best way to fight that scourge in our community is to legalize cannabis. Thank you for your time.
Jeremy Rivera.
Good evening, members of the board. Are you guys ready? Time? Perfect. Good evening, members of the board, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Jeremy Rivera. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Terp-Rose Cannabis Dispensary, one of New York's first licensed and operational adult use dispensaries located in Queens. I am also the president of the Cannabis Retail Alliance of New York, representing licensed operators who believe in equity, safety, and community-driven growth. First, I'd like to thank the Central Islip Board and community for considering the opportunity to open your town to adult-use cannabis sales. It is a bold and thoughtful step that reflects a forward-thinking approach to local economic development. My business partner and his family are long lifetime residents and business owners in Lindenhurst, and for the past 2 years, we hope to open a business of cannabis in Suffolk County. Our initial focus was in Babylon, one of the few towns that did opt in, but due to limited zoning combined with Nassau County opting out, it created a bottleneck. Prices skyrocketed and competition for space became unsustainable. Today, Babylon has 6 dispensaries open and another 12 pending approval just within a couple square miles from each other. This kind of overconcentration has led to the exact concerns that many residents hope to avoid: the heavy traffic, commercial clusters, and limited access. Central Islip has a real opportunity to do things different and much better. Instead of repeating the same model, you can take a thoughtful approach, spacing out businesses, engaging residents in the process, and ensuring that only responsible, community-focused operators are opened. This would relieve pressure on neighborhood towns and provide residents with local convenient access without having to travel and deal with the congestion. Cannabis retail can and should be integrated into our communities like other neighborhood-serving businesses, restaurants that serve alcohol, bars, and wellness centers. At Terpros, we just don't operate in the community, we serve it. We hire locally, we partner with neighborhood organizations, and give back through annual Thanksgiving turkey drives, Christmas giveaways, and ongoing donations to grassroots programs and not-for-profits. We do believe that cannabis as a business should uplift its community and not just exist within it. We're excited about the possibility of bringing the same energy and accountability to Central Islip. With my last 51 seconds, it seems like there is a lot of fear-mongering going on about legal cannabis and what it brings to the community. The facts and the statistics state obviously the opposite. We've had legal cannabis in Babylon, and we've had Farmingdale have a large concentration of legal dispensaries, and yet we haven't seen the things that people are worried about. Currently, if we took the same emotions and enthusiasm to shut down these illegal shops as we did to hold back the legal shops, we wouldn't have the problem of our juveniles and our adolescents being able to consume, ingest, and purchase illegal cannabis at these stores. The first thing we should do if we're very concerned about illegal cannabis is shut down the illegal cannabis shops that are existing right now at this moment, whether we want to believe it or not. Every community has cannabis consumers. This is something that's emerging not only in the country but in the world. We're seeing nations across the world taking in cannabis in a very responsible way, and I hope the town of Central Islip does the same. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Susan Kubel.
Hi, my name is Susan Kubel. I'm the chairperson of Great South Bay Coalition. I'm a proud lifetime member of Sayville. Good evening, Islip Town Supervisor Carpenter and the Planning Board members. I am here to inform you that the negative health concerns of adding more cannabis dispensers in Suffolk County and providing more substance use available for the youth of the town of Islip. The mission of the Great South Bay is to empower our communities and to promote physical and mental health, to reduce youth substance use. The concern with dealing with the Office of Cannabis Management, OCM, that regulates the licensing dispensaries, that cannot opt out of Islip Town decision. Secondly, the license restrictions keeps changing from the OCM. Dispensaries can submit amendment requests and so forth. I gotta make this quick because we only have so many time. Okay. Thirdly, approximately information changes, addresses, hours of operation, identifications, where the businesses are going, sales of non-cannabis products, delivery and drive-through, landlords information, and so forth. Notifications of ownership of the true party interest. TPI has interim guidance for changing, removing, and adding TPI. OCM has reduced the minimum distance between cannabis dispensaries. from 2,000 feet from dispensaries for approximately 20,000 to now, population of 20,000, now 1,000 feet for the population of 20,000 or more. 500 feet from your school, 200 feet from the house of worship, and even if as low as 750 if the applicant complains about the location is difficult for him to get to. They have also lowered the distance to schools and resident areas. The Great South Bay Coalition would love to work with the town on fully researching and sitting at the table to discuss the implication of changing the policy of Islip Township. We hope you will delay making this important decision because of the OCM keeps changing the licensing requirements and the town will not be able to opt out. Thank you for your consideration and concerns with this policy. Susan Cubell, Chairperson of Great South Bay Coalition. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Jill Scher. Okay. Debbie Kavanaugh.
Debbie Kavanaugh, Vice President of the Central Islip School Board, President of the Central Islip Coalition of Good Neighbors. I commend the town of Islip in the past for opting out and not letting our community sell cannabis in our township, for taking the lead in New York State in the Islip Go Purple fight against drugs and opioid. I hope the town continues to opt it out. It is my understanding through Newsday that there are some council people considering opting in this year for tax dollars. That would be a terrible mistake. It would endanger our middle school, high school, and college students. Even though it's against the law for minors, cannabis shops will follow vape shops, and they will sell it to them anyway. Many of our middle school and high school students are already vaping. Our students have seizures, they pass out. Our young people know how to combine weed with lighter fluid to create wax for them to vape. The THC levels are 50 to 90% higher. This causes our students of any ages to have seizures, heart problems, popcorn lung damage, permanent brain cell damage which will not regenerate, and the brain is not fully developed to the age of 25. Tax dollars are not worth the lives of our children. Young people do not believe that this will damage them at all. The councilmen was told in Newsday that we're considering opting in. If your son or daughter goes to a party and the friends are vaping and they join them, they have a seizure because now they're vaping. You will think twice about passing this bill. Do not think and be a naive parent saying, not my child. 24/7, your child's going to do it. Islip has taken a lead in the Islip Go Purple initiative to work to protect our youth, college students. If any adult over 25 wants to put their brain cells in danger and go into early stages of dementia, that's their choice. But being a responsible adult, we'll need to protect our young people. Councilman, if you vote to opt out, I commend you. If you vote to opt in, you're a hypocrite, especially if you show up to support Islip Goes Purple. You neither want to protect the youth of our kids, or you want to take permanent responsibility for harming the students of our community and damaging their brain cells, heart, lungs, and causing seizures. If you vote to opt in, I hope you can sleep at night because you're going to be responsible for putting our students in danger. Cannabis shops are not wanted in Central Islip, and if you vote to opt in, put it in your own backyard. Thank you.
Next speaker, Edward Frazier.
Good evening, Town Board. Eddie Fraser, President of the Greater Bayshore Chamber of Commerce and a concerned resident of, a longtime resident of Bayshore. The decision made in 2021 to opt out of retail cannabis sales was a decision made with welfare and safety of our community in mind. It was the right decision then, and it remains the right decision now. Allowing cannabis dispensaries in Islip will have far-reaching negative consequences that will outweigh any financial benefit. Proponents argue that cannabis dispensaries will bring additional revenue to Islip. However, financial gain should never come at the cost of public health or safety. The potential economic benefits are uncertain and speculative at this time. The anticipated revenue will likely diminish, making this a very risky and short-lived financial prospect. This town should not gamble its future on an industry riddled with uncertainties. One of the most alarming aspects of this proposal is the impact on our youth. Studies have consistently shown that increased accessibility to cannabis leads to higher rates of use amongst teenagers. Supporters claim that allowing dispensaries will enhance consumer safety by eliminating the illicit market. That assumption is so flawed. In areas where cannabis dispensaries have been legalized, unlicensed cannabis sales continue to thrive. Black market operators undercut legal prices and avoid regulations, making it nearly impossible for legal business to drive them out. The expectation that legal cannabis shops will eradicate illegal sales is unrealistic, and it does not justify the risks associated with permitting these businesses in our town. A recent study published in the Journal of American College of Cardiology sheds the light on serious health risks with marijuana use. This study, which surveyed over 4.6 million people under the age of 50 with no pre-existing cardiovascular conditions, found that marijuana users are 6 times more likely to have heart attacks or strokes. These are no speculative numbers. They are hard facts backed by research. The study suggests that marijuana affects heart rhythm regulation, increases oxygen demand, and in heart muscle. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention has previously reported similar findings. With this in mind, we must ask ourselves, why would we knowingly introduce a substance with such profound health risks into our community? Even with zoning restrictions limiting dispensaries to industrial areas, their presence in our community will still lead to negativity, secondary effects. Other communities that have embraced cannabis sales have faced difficulties with oversight, regulatory compliance, and unintended consequences. Islip should not become the next testing ground for an industry that remains highly controversial and fraught with uncertainty. Tonight, I urge the town board to uphold your original decision to opt out of retail cannabis sales. Prioritize the safety, health, and equality of the life of the residents of Islip. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. Next speaker, Donna Perricone.
Well done, Eddie. You, the members of the town board, I think are supposed to be voting on this. Am I correct? Are you voting tonight on this?
I'm not sure.
Oh, so that's to be decided?
It's possible that we could, but
oh, you could. Okay,
has not been
okay,
determined
I wasn't
yet.
sure. We learned about this hearing and your pending vote from 2 articles in Newsday, one on March the 17th and the other on March 27th. And according to Newsday, Angie Carpenter is a confirmed no vote. Thank you, Angie. The other 4 board members are seriously considering a yes vote, I think tonight, I'm not sure. I find this unbelievable. Many of you may remember how in 2021 our chamber voted no when a marijuana dispensary was suggested for our Main Street in downtown Bayshore. Our 300-year-old Main Street, historic and beautiful again, in this little hamlet by the sea, was going to be plagued by a marijuana dispensary. Babylon approved their pot sales for their village, but we fought hard, and we said, no way. And we learned of this hearing only from Newsday. No one on this board reached out to the chamber to tell us that you were thinking about this. We got no notice from anybody here on this board. I had to see this in Newsday. I find this so hard to believe, and I find it to be very disrespectful. Islip received no notice about this hearing either. This is certainly serious enough for us to be notified that you were going to sit here and talk about this. Okay. I don't think you reached out to any other chambers either, but I've been chamber president for Bayshore for 27 years. I've worked with many supervisors. I've worked with many planning commissioners and all department heads, and we always met regularly to discuss new issues or new proposals that would benefit our communities. Obviously, this board doesn't feel that's necessary. I'm very concerned when the entire character of our community could be destroyed. We hear nothing about this hearing, and we've only had 2 weeks to reach out to the residents of Bayshore and Brightwaters. It's not over yet. We have other residents that will talk about this too. The confidence you showed in your Newsday comments indicates you know more about what's happening, I'm finishing up, I'm awfully sorry, in the town of Islip than we do. But we've saved this town once before, 27 years of work, and we are not allowing it to go away again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Rhonda Glenn Netterman.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rhonda Glenn Netterman. I've been a resident of Central Islip for over 40 years and have seen many transitions within the town of Islip, to which I never thought that a day would come in which I'd need to speak publicly about continued safety and minimize exposure for our youth to continue to opt out for cannabis retailers in the town of Islip. Please allow me to share some evidence-based facts, studies, and statistics in which you may or may not already know, which will give reason as to why we should continue to opt out in the town of Islip. Just on a side note, I am the Director of Prevention, which covers substances and other illicit drugs within Youth Enrichment Services. So in 2012, Colorado made the move to legalize cannabis, which impacted hospitals, motor vehicles, traffic safety, and most of all, youth. Yes, legalization is for those 21 and over, but there is a negative effect on education, behavior, and cognitive development since the brain doesn't formally develop until 25. Not to mention the correlation of youth that do cannabis or pot, in other words, have a higher chance of indulging in other illicit drugs, inclusive of opioids. In fact, opioid deaths have increased in the state of Michigan the same time that recreational cannabis was made legal. So let me go back to Colorado and how this relates to us in the town of Islip. Since recreational marijuana was legalized, traffic deaths involving drivers who tested positive for marijuana, cannabis, more than doubled from 55 in 2013 to 115 people killed in 2018, which equates to 1 person killed every 3 days in 2018, compared to 1 person killed every 6.5 days in 2013. What will be the numbers if the town of Islip opts in? Since recreational marijuana was legalized, past month marijuana use for ages 12 and older increased 58% and was 78% higher than the national average. What will be the numbers if the town of Islip opt in? You may be saying, oh, we have protocols in place that don't allow for youth to enter stores. But what about the adults that get shoulder tapped and paid a little extra by someone else buying for youth, and then that youth receives the higher potency THC level cookie, candy, or juice, which now leads to increased psychosis? The yearly number of emergency department visits related to marijuana increased 54% after legalization of recreational marijuana. Legalization is now known to increase emergency department visits for cannabis poisoning in children, and the higher potency leads to increased psychosis. What will be the numbers if the town of Islip opts in? Whether it be 1 or 5 cannabis retail stores in the town of Islip, why can't we shift from wanting to generate revenue off of cannabis retail shops to that of creating opportunities for jobs where our youth can grow and become leaders and or business owners? Because you do know that youth cannot work in retail shops, right? So what's really in it for them if the town of Islip opts in? Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Brendan Black.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor and members of the Town Board.
My name is Brendan Black, and I bring greetings from New York State Assemblyman Keith Brown, who you may know as the ranking member of the Assembly Committee on Alcoholism and Substance Abuse. Unfortunately, the Assemblyman is in Albany and cannot attend tonight's public hearing, but he wanted me to read a statement he prepared opposing the proposed amendment to the town code to allow for legal marijuana dispensaries in the town of Islip. As you know, the legislation that legalized recreational marijuana allowed towns to opt out opening dispensaries. At the time, Islip wisely opted out in order to protect public health and keep the marijuana industry out of the neighborhoods. Most importantly, although the state municipalities did not opt out, they have received some tax revenue. The State Office of Cannabis Management and Cannabis Control Board shockingly did not do what they said they were going to do. That is, spend money on educating the public on the dangers of marijuana use, disorder, and underage marijuana use. From a psychological point of view, marijuana contains more than 500 different compounds that affect the brain and body in different ways. These effects include altered senses, altered sense of time, changing mood, impaired body movement, difficulty with thinking, problem solving, impaired memory, hallucinations in high doses, as well as delusions. The reason why it's so dangerous is that the marijuana today is not like the marijuana used in the 1970s. In the Journal of the Missouri State Medical Association, it was noted that with increased potency of THC comes a recognized withdrawal syndrome, which includes increased anger, irritability, depression, restlessness, headache, loss of appetite, insomnia, and severe cravings for marijuana. A systematic review published in the Lancet Psychiatry in 2022 found that high-potency products are associated with the development of psychosis and cannabis use disorder. A Carnegie Mellon study revealed that from 1992 to 2022, there was a 15-fold increase in the rate of daily or nearly daily marijuana use. The study pointed out that long-term trends in cannabis use in the United States parallel corresponding changes in cannabis policy, with declines during periods of greater restriction and growth during periods of liberalization. In effect, and not surprisingly, the legalization of marijuana is causing the increase in marijuana use. Research done in 2022 by USC Keck School of Medicine in California showed a correlation between cannabis retail locations and youth marijuana use. In areas with recreational retail cannabis stores, the adolescent 30-day use of cannabis was significantly higher.
Thank you. If you want to leave the copy of the statement.
Yes, may I
Yes,
please?
please do. Thank you.
The Assemblyman also recommended that he is open for all of you to call into his office and discuss it in further detail.
Well, if he could send information, your comment about the Office of Cannabis Management not spending the dollars as they were supposed to be, I would like to have more information on that.
I will definitely have him send
Thank
that
you.
information. There's also other data in there as far as location and
Okay, thank you. Next speaker, Charles Gandolfo.
Thank you, Supervisor and the board, for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. I am totally opposed to this opting out on this cannabis situation. I'm a business owner in Islip for many years. I grew up here. Me, my family, and my neighbors oppose this action. I own a large collision facility. We do a lot of major accidents on the parkways and on the highways all around. You read a lot of it in the papers, and a lot of it does not make the papers. Most of the drivers, 20–30% of our accidents, which are horrific accidents, most of them are impaired, either liquor, cannabis, or other pills and drugs. It's a major problem, and to bring this on in our town, we don't need it. If somebody wants it, let them go next door. Who cares? We don't need it. It's really a bad situation. Our society is going downhill instead of going uphill. You guys did a great job over the last 7–8 years. We went so far in rehabilitating different areas and everything. now, why are we entertaining this? Because of a business group? What do you make it? It's not about money, because the money that they're talking about is nothing. It's not a lot of money. We don't need the money. To go furthermore, with these drugs, it increases the psychosis, long-term mental health issues such as suicide, which is very large today, depression, schizophrenia, and let's exacerbate on existing symptoms of bipolar. I have a personal experience with it. I had a son, honor student, excellent. You would love him, you see him every day. He started with a little marijuana, and we were good parents, we were strict. But of course, things happen. Gets older, plays a little more, and advances into more addicting drugs. Out of 100% of people, you have 10 to 12% of people have addictive personalities, like you have the same problem with alcohol. Talk to your rehabilitation centers. They can't handle the volume that they have now. Why are we enhancing it? We don't need the money, and we don't need that business. You're talking about doing it in an industrial area. That's the highest crime area in Islip Town right now. Yeah, the dispensary, yeah, they're doing a great job in that corner. Let me tell you, you have a lot of crime around it. That's what we should be focusing on. The gentleman said before, you got people selling pot in these stores. I want to know when's the last time you picked up the phone and said, hey, they're dealing drugs in this station. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Next speaker, Mary Ann Pfeiffer.
Hi, everybody. I guess all of the board knows I'm the CEO of Youth Enrichment Services. So I've been doing this a long time, and some of my staff are here who live in the town of Islip and are concerned about the opting in. I don't think there's an argument. We know it's legalized. We know that people do businesses. For us, the work that we do, the time we've put in, we went from the tobacco lawsuits, if anybody remembers that. So there was all this money, and we had to do all of these things to get tobacco use by people under 21 down. We changed laws. We increased the age to buy cigarettes. We did campaigns, pledges. We went to stores. We asked them. We changed laws about smoking because we knew it was a health risk. I'm not going to repeat everything we've heard here today about cannabis. So we really felt good. Those numbers dropped. Tobacco numbers went significantly down. It was a successful 10-year period that we saw change. And then we had vaping. So originally vaping was for people who were going to quit tobacco. It was a great idea, right? Let's get them off of tobacco. And then everything happened. Flavored vape, and the problem came back. So this is about our children and our families. It's not about money. Because if you're a family, thank you, Mr. Gandolfo, for sharing something personal, who has been in the struggle for their child's life, and we're talking about 45%, those numbers are staggering, of people who use cannabis at a certain young age will go on to harder. Yes, they can get it illegally, but when we normalize something, when we say this is acceptable, that this is okay instead of doing things that are positive and life-affirming, we've really given up on our kids. We're going to sell them out. And it's nothing, I don't think any person on this town board has any ill will about this. Everyone's trying their best. But we heard from 2 young women from, I think, Central Islip, sad. Prostitution and trafficking is a problem in this town. I would hope that we wouldn't say the answer is to legalize it. It's a problem. We know the trafficking is a problem. We're having meetings all of the time. Sex trafficking, among other. Would we legalize that for the town of Islip? Would we bring that in and say, now we're going to be okay like Nevada did? We haven't yet. Thank you for your time.
Liz Mayotte.
Good evening, members of the board. On behalf of the Islip Chamber, I'm here to voice our strong opposition to the reconsideration of allowing cannabis dispensaries in the town of Islip. 4 years ago, we opted out, and we urge you to uphold that decision that was made 4 years ago. While some may argue that the dispensaries bring in revenue, we cannot ignore the cost to our youth, public safety, and the overall well-being to our town. Increased access can lead to higher teen use, and despite regulations, dispensaries send the wrong message to our kids. We must ask ourselves, is the potential for short-term revenue worth the long-term risk to our community? Let's continue to prioritize responsible growth and preserve the values that make Islip a place we're proud to call home. Thank you.
Thank you. Joseph Algieri. Joseph Algieri.
To the board, my name is Joe Algieri. I'm from Islip. Been here 40 years. I think you should not do this because of the taxes. You're not going to get what you think you're getting out of them. Because the more shops that open up, the less there's going to be for us to get a hold of. Angie, I'd like to thank you for what you said in the paper. You said legalization cannot be undone, and it will jeopardize the health and welfare of the youth. I 100% believe in that. I believe the shops will bring in a lot of unwanted problems. And you know we already have these problems here. Everybody's on top of it. It's in the paper every day. What is this projected income going to be? In closing, I'd like to remind you, we vote you in or out. I know this is an election year coming up, I believe. And I vote, and a lot of these other people vote too. So I'd like you to take a deeper consideration into what this is going to bring to the community. I thank you for your services.
Thank you.
Very much.
Alfred James Sammartino.
Evening all. I'm not going to waste your time because I have a pasta dinner waiting for me just down the street, but I'm a resident of East Islip since at least the year 2000. I am a small business owner in the town of Babylon. I think it's kind of poignant that Rich Schaefer, the supervisor of the town of Babylon for most of my life, I'm 33 years old, essentially made his claim to fame by shutting down crack houses and other such areas of ill repute within his town. For him to suddenly announce a town meeting to reconsider opting in on cannabis sales is a pretty strong message, especially in regards to things like illicit substances and the effects they have on our communities. As a small business owner who works in hospitality, I deal with all sorts of people every day. Who's addicted to what? Who's a drunk? Who does a little heroin? Who's a cokehead? Whatever it is. I guarantee you the cannabis users aren't the ones causing most of the problems in our communities. Now, when it comes to people getting their hands on certain substances, which they may or may not have access to, should or should not have access to, I think other people have put it a bit more succinctly than I could, that it'll happen regardless. We do have to think about our children, but you also have to consider that children are much more intelligent than what we often give them credit for, especially in an age when we have devices like this that can bring the entire world to them without having to go anywhere. People can make their own informed decisions. Cannabis is a substance that has been in existence for thousands of years, if not more, and has been used as a religious sacrament, a medicine, as a textile in both clothing, talking about rigging for sails, ropes, talking about hempcrete for construction, but we're specifically talking about recreational adult use. Now, whether or not children get their hands on cannabis due to the moral failings of somebody they tap on the shoulder to ask, hey, can you get me a little of this? Or because they root around their parents' closet and grab something that was not secured, I don't think that, legal, law-abiding adults should be penalized for such failings. Whether or not you decide to opt in is not my decision. And I'm not sure how I could really convince you of what the right thing to do is, but as a small business owner who deals with various substances every day, not so much the substances, but the people who use them, I guarantee you the cannabis use is not the problem here. That's it. Have a good one.
Thank you. Gary O'Valley. Gary O'Valley.
Good evening. Thank you for having me, and thank you for being here. Much appreciated. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Gary O'Valley. I am a lifelong resident here in the town of Islip. I'm also the president of the Long Island Cannabis Coalition. You've seen a few of my members, heard a few of my members talk and address you earlier. Tonight we will hear from many people sharing a lot of information, some of it very constructive, some of it full of bad information and fueled by fear and antiquated beliefs. I hope that the voting members of this board have the wisdom, the insight, and determination to parse through most of that to help you come to the best decision for your constituents. I'm a lifelong resident of the town of Islip, born and raised right down the road in Central Islip. Many of you knew my mother, Sylvia O'Valley, and all of the good work that she did to better our towns as a community leader. And I stand before you today carrying on that legacy. More than anything, I want what is best for the town and the people who live in it. Today, cannabis is a legal industry in New York. It is full of licensed operators and businesses that support the launch and safe handling of cannabis products in our communities. Safe, tested, regulated products for a 21 and older consumer base who deserve every right to have access to this legal industry. I want the same things that most people in this room want, regardless of their side of the conversation. I want to make sure that our children don't have access to cannabis products. I want to make sure that illicit shops are shut down in our town. And I don't want to have the traffic problems or nuisance crime related to cannabis sales in my neighborhood. I want to make sure that our communities remain safe and don't see an increase in the drug addiction epidemic that plagues so many of our communities. Adopting measures to introduce legal cannabis retail addresses many of those issues. Cannabis retail shops are mandated by the state to prevent access to children. They can't be marketed to. They're not even allowed to look inside of the stores from the street as they walk by. Every time a legal dispensary opens up, the Office of Cannabis Management works with local law enforcement to perform sweeps of the surrounding area to make sure illicit shops shutter their doors and remain closed, helping to remove the criminal element to this conversation. Of all 6 dispensaries currently open on Long Island, there have been none, 0 complaints against them for traffic, crime, smell, or illicit activity. You heard a lot of the fear in here, and it's just false. I ask you to pass this resolution and allow cannabis retail to open in the town of Islip. Thank you.
Next speaker, Ann Forkutza. Ann Forkutza.
Good evening, everyone, and members of the town board. My name is Ann Forkutza, representing BioTrack. New York State's official government seed-to-sale compliance and traceability system appointed by the Office of Cannabis Management. Our system provides compliant ways and tools that support the state's goals of economic development and public health and safety. I stand before you tonight alongside members of the Long Island Cannabis Coalition and many members of the regulated cannabis community because we all share similar concerns. We do not want unregulated, untested, and illicit cannabis making its way into our communities, especially into the hands of youth here on Long Island. This is exactly why New York has taken a thoughtful and strategic approach by rolling out a seed-to-sale compliance system like BioTrack. Our platform helps regulate cannabis operations to ensure that products are tested and all cannabis entrepreneurs are licensed and operating within the legal framework. BioTrack currently operates in 38 states and 13 countries. We've supported numerous cannabis legalization rollouts, and we have consistently seen the same trend. Despite concerns, the data shows no spike in underage consumption or any increase in related crime for licensed legal cannabis. I repeat, the data collectively in 38 markets shows no spike in underage consumption or any increase in related crime for licensed legal cannabis. Instead, we see economic growth, job creation, and increased tax revenue to help fund community efforts. Our system ensures every product is tracked from seed to sale. That means every plant, every product, and every transaction is scanned and monitored. This level of traceability gives law enforcement, regulators, and communities, including this community, the tools needed to keep cannabis out of the hands of minors and maintain a tightly controlled legal retail ecosystem that protects youth and supports public health. We've prepared an information packet for you, and we welcome the opportunity to work together and answer any questions you may have. Thank you for your time and your commitment to your community.
Thank you. Next speaker, just see where that went. Ryan Olson.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board, town supervisor. How are you doing tonight? I am Ryan Olson. I'm an LMSW. I work for Youth Enrichment Services. I am the supervisor of the co-occurring disorder. Our clinics are in Islip and Brentwood. I also live in West Islip, so I'm a town member. I mean, there's a lot being said here tonight. Like, I was a lot of things I wanted to say, but I think I'm just going to go with what I got from all the information. We got an argument coming from both sides. One side stands to make millions of dollars. The other side stands to make nothing, except they want safer communities. I think if we're listening to somebody who's pushing propaganda here tonight, I'm going to go with the people who are trying to make money here. But I'll tell you what I know. Co-occurring disorder is a disorder that is a mental health disorder coupled with a substance abuse disorder concurrently. The high-potency marijuana that we're seeing on the streets because of the legalization of marijuana is leading to this co-occurring disorder in our kids. We treat 5 to 21. Our teenagers are suffering from this disorder, and it's because the high potency it's not the marijuana that we smoked when we were in high school or your parents smoked. Then it was like 10% was the potency. Now it's average of 18%. You get up to 40% and stuff you can smoke. Edibles and stuff can go all the way up to 100%. At that point, it becomes causal for anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, psychosis, and we're seeing this in our youth. So legal or not illegal, the youth is using it. We've seen since New York legalized marijuana, that was the biggest problem, right? Because at that point, the use went up for the youth by 25% in all states across the board that legalized marijuana. So that led to the creation of the high potency marijuana. Then in towns that decide to put dispensaries in their towns, it says that they increase use of the youth is up 10% in those towns opposed to towns that don't have dispensaries. So I know the dispensaries aren't selling to the kids, and I know that that's not the problem. It's that the perception of the kids is that if it's legal and it's in my town, it's okay for me to do. And my friends are doing it, and now I'm doing it. And because of the legalization and the high potency problem, it causes so much trouble for our youth. The #1 substance in toxicology reports for suicide is marijuana. Marijuana is said to be in a study of heroin users, 90% of heroin users said that the first substance that they use is marijuana. So we're not saying that all kids that smoke marijuana or use marijuana are going to be heroin users, but there is a correlation, just like there's a correlation with suicide. We can't say it causes suicide. So, I mean, that's what I know. I hope you guys decide to opt out. Thanks.
Thank you. Ben Herbst. Ben Herbst. Took you longer to get here from Brooklyn, huh?
I apologize, I was downstairs. Thank you, Council, for listening to everybody today. I know there's a lot of people here talking about feelings, and I just want to talk about straight facts. Islip has an issue. You're flanked by 2 municipalities that allow cannabis dispensaries. These other facilities are delivering into Islip. Not allowing a legal dispensary in Islip has no effect on the resident consumption amounts, but only the revenue of Islip. The town is currently losing significant taxable revenue a year from neighboring municipalities. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars the town could receive without increasing the tax revenue, the taxable income of the residents. The cannabis industry is one of the most highly regulated industries in the US. Having a legal dispensary does not increase underage consumption. No one under 21 can enter the facility, period. Parking lots are monitored by security guards, so no one under 21 is even allowed outside the premises. Lastly, having legal dispensaries fights against illegal operations. Having a legal option allows residents to buy legally. Buying legally hurts the illicit market. One last thing. By the numbers, the most addictive substance issue in the US today is alcoholism. And I'm sure there's many people in this room tonight that might go out and have a glass of wine. Is there any concern that liquor stores are causing issues for the youth? I don't believe so. We have to be realistic about what's happening. This is a legal industry, and it's one of the most highly regulated in the US and should be treated that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Kevin Crumlish.
Good evening, Superintendent, Supervisor, and board members. I heard a lot of information here this evening. I'm not going to reiterate it, what the good and the bad of it. But I know one thing. Marijuana is a gateway drug. I spent 20 years in the New York City Police Department as a detective. I arrested 16-year-olds for homicide due to marijuana. It's nothing but a problem. It's a gateway drug, and anybody that can, disputes that, I have a problem with. You heard from the superintendent of schools in the West Islip. You heard from Mr. Gandolfo about the problem with marijuana, with accidents. Absolutely. I've had auto accidents as a uniformed police officer. You go up there, it's a minor accident. Next thing you know, one guy is fighting like crazy with another person. He's intox, right? So I told him to sit in his car and mind his business. He wouldn't even listen to me. I finally had to arrest the guy. So now I called the intox unit. I figure he's intox on alcohol. Came up clean as a whistle, right? I had to take him to the hospital for a blood test, which then he refused. So the marijuana doesn't show up if you get pulled over for a breathalyzer. You have to get a blood test or a THS type of test, so it's a problem. Now, going back, when my children were growing up back in the 70s, as a police officer, I was very concerned about drugs and so forth like that. So I did some studies, The biggest study was up in Canada, and they're talking about habitual marijuana smoking with young people. I'm saying it's young, is definitely damage to your brain. As we heard one of the speakers up here earlier speaking, she mentioned that the brain damage can go up to 25, that the brains are not developed, and that's probably true. So recently I did a study on marijuana up in Canada. The Canadians, they did studies back in the 70s. That was the first ones I ever read about. So this one here was, they legalized it up in Canada in 2018. So 2018 to 225. This is a shocking number. 105,000 hospitalizations for cannabis or marijuana. I call it marijuana. I don't know what cannabis. It sounds a little more formal, I guess. I'm very disappointed in some of these people that came in here that are legalizing it, that they control it and don't make it over-intoxicating. Marijuana is marijuana. I don't care if you're selling it legally or illegally. It's also a burden on police departments. That someone was saying that they're going to have extra police monitoring the areas where the stores are opened up. All right, I thank you for your patience. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, sir.
And good luck. It's not an easy decision, but they got it on both towns on opposite sides of us. So it takes a little courage to say no.
Thank you. Robert Zahn Jr., Robert Zahn.
Hello. Good day, and thank you all for being here today. I have 3 minutes, so let me get to it. Some of these issues of those in opposition of cannabis being in your hamlet at this point are concerning. The illicit shops running, taking money from your pockets, the carelessness of product safety of said products, as well as the safety of our community. Providing places for retail distribution will not only contribute lump sums of taxes to state and local governments, create jobs for businesses to build, renovate, and employ. This will also allow some of these retail distributors to create revenue to provide environments such as consumption lounges to consume tested product properly and safely in controlled environments. Just as pharmaceutical and prescription drug companies concerned, there's need some sort of security in household to prevent young children access. I get that. If my license is accepted, we will be educating consumers on retail about safely storing our products being sold. CVS Pharmacy, you allow kids go in there. They could see the prescription being held. They could see the prescriptions being given out. These are facilities that are going to be locked in presence of something that's beneficial. I've been to the Albany meetings. I've seen people suffering with cancer. I've seen people suffering with illnesses that aren't helping. They have vouched for this product. They have vouched for this medicine. It's neuroprotective. There's certain aspects about it that are beneficial, and everybody seems to be doubting its capabilities. People want to be able to trust what they believe too. And I feel that cannabis allows people to do that. In recreational use, they can understand what benefits their body. They can understand what benefits them. They don't have to always trust people that aren't doing psych tests or aren't doing things for the community that they feel is good. Some people are false diagnosed. It's not an issue of how are they going to prevent it from children and this and that. It's the parents' obligation to do that. We are doing as much as we can with these facilities. The parents are up to what they can do and conceal and secure these items, these products. I see at the Albany meeting, somebody stood up and said they were supposed to die of cancer 7 years ago. And medicine hasn't helped them, and they believe this has. At the end of the day, cannabis is legal in New York State, and it's here in our towns and has been. Whether you're against the community or with us, I believe, and most of us would agree, that opting in would be creating a solution to an already proposed bill here in the town of Islip, restricting access to young adults by age-restricted facilities and safer space of consumption for all. We need to be notified. It's at our homes as well. We need to be notified, and these establishments are going to be able to express that. and give a safe place and funding for them to be able to use and be educated and monitor themselves. Thank you, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, John Cobell. John Cobell. Bailey Medagno from Bayshore. Bailey Medagno. Callie. Callie from Valley Stream. Barbara Voris.
Good evening. Thanks for having us here. My name is Barbara Voris. You may know me from the community. I've lived here like 45 years, and I'm active in community and prevention. Working with the Great South Bay Coalition, I am constantly reading research and doing surveys with school districts on substance use. And I'm going off script now because I've heard so many pro opt-in people telling us that they're going to reduce our taxes. My friends that are in Babylon, their taxes haven't gone down. My friends that are in Brookhaven, I don't think their taxes have gone down. The consumption lounges, that's challenging. I'm going to go back on script. I'm here to inform you of the negative health issues of cannabis use disorder that occurs when someone keeps using cannabis even though that it is harming them. Cannabis use disorder will develop in 1 in 10 people who regularly use cannabis. Young people using cannabis before 18, it will rise 1 in 6. The growing concern is the THC that's in the cannabis. That's what gets people addicted. THC, when it's smoked or when they're eating it, alters mood, increases hunger level. We've heard all the different symptoms. Marijuana users, one research article I read talked about marijuana users under the age of 50, 6 times more likely to experience a heart attack, 4 times more likely to experience ischemic stroke, 2 times more likely to experience heart failure. Long-lasting impacts on thinking. There is some question on about IQ going down about 8 points. One of the research articles that I read talked about the hidden risk of legal cannabis. There are complex and inconsistent regulatory landscapes and the contamination at the cannabis dispensaries. New York State needs to have more rigorous testing for microbial contamination, pesticides, heavy metals, solvents, and mold. And yes, mold is in the cannabis that people are consuming. And in Babylon, when they were in a rush to get the cannabis dispensaries open, the mold level was left, they changed the amount. So they let an increased amount of mold in the cannabis. We want our residents in Islip to stay healthy and safe as we explore the unknowns of legalized cannabis use. Great South Bay Coalition would love to work with the Islip Town Board to develop a healthy approach to the legalized cannabis policy. At this time, we need more information from research to make sure we do not reduce our town budget with increased enforcement issues for law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Karen Winter.
Good evening, board and members and neighbors. My name is Corinne Winter. I served as the Islip High School and Middle School drug and alcohol counselor for close to a decade. In those years, I attended at least 10 funerals for young people lost to addiction. Children that I watched start smoking marijuana in high school and middle school that went on to using stronger drugs. I remember the faces of these children. I remember the heartbreak of their families. And that's why I'm here tonight, to urge you to not open a marijuana dispensary in our town. I grew up right here in the village of Islip. Today, I run a nonprofit called Mission B. We have an office right down the block on Main Street. And we teach children mindfulness and social and emotional well-being in schools across Long Island. We help kids breathe through stress instead of numbing it with substances like marijuana. By placing a dispensary here in our town, it sends the opposite message, that using a substance to cope with life's challenges, to anesthetize ourselves, is safe and normal. And that message is in fact dangerous. Research, including a major study in JAMA Pediatrics, shows youth marijuana use rises in communities with dispensaries. That is a fact. Why? Because legal storefronts lower risk perception. That is a very important fact. We need to lower risk perception. I invite you to contemplate that as a team and explore that. Why? Because legal storefronts, even with age limits, teens can still get access. We've seen it with alcohol, and we've seen it with vaping, and we will see it with marijuana. Use before the age of 25, and a couple other, I'm also a social worker, mental health professionals mentioned this, is linked to depression, anxiety, psychosis, all symptoms which I've seen in adolescents using right up the road at Islip High School. At a time when 1 in 3 teens, and I think it's actually beyond that now with COVID, is struggling with mental health, we really can't afford to make harmful substances more viable. Just because our neighbor's doing it doesn't mean we have to. We can have a stronger, more grounded, more assertive moral fiber. Some say this is about medical use, but this is a retail business. Let's be honest here. Let's think about and feel into our hearts in both sides. You know, where do we want to be at the end of life? In our hearts. Most products sold here will be high-potency THC, not regulated medicine, and it's not about health and well-being. Let's face it, it's about revenue. And yes, you will hear talks about bringing in millions of dollars, which we've done, teaching kids social and emotional learning. We are a town that can stand up for our children. We can fight for them. I invite you to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Christopher Etz. Christopher Etz.
Thank you, Supervisor Carpenter, and thank you, Town Board, for giving me the opportunity to speak. We've heard a lot of different things about the pros and cons of cannabis, and one of the important things that I wanted to bring up, which was brought up twice tonight, is that study that hit on March 26, 2025. 4.6 million cohort study, 6 times more likely to have a heart attack or cardiovascular disease. 1.5 higher for stroke. But cannabis has been used as medicinal. Over the years, it is a known anti-nausant, pain relief, and an anti-inflammatory. So why not take an approach, say a compromise? Why not allow medical dispensaries only? Or if somebody wants to open up, be under a pharmacist or a physician, somebody that also is connected to certain education and have principal investigators to help further research. You have strong precedent for this now. 3 of the 4 medical cannabis dispensaries on Long Island are in towns that have opted out. Lake Success, Huntington, and Long Beach. There, you can get some tax revenue, but you're also more towards a medicinal. People with cancer. The United States is coming into a crisis, and people don't understand it. There are no more painkillers. The drug companies are not making them any longer. They were all sued. Cannabis is a known pain reliever for people with cancer or an anti-nausant dealing with chemotherapy. So why not start there and then see where that takes you? Thank you, Board.
Thank you, sir. Leslie Rodriguez.
Hello, everyone. Ready?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
My name is Leslie Rodriguez. I'm a lifelong Long Islander. I'm speaking to you today as a licensed medical cannabis patient who went heavy into natural plant-based solutions after receiving 3 spinal surgeries to my neck and my lower back. I am one of the very few who had the state reimbursed for my medical cannabis as an alternative to opioids. Having cannabis as my main source of pain management has helped allow me to excel my recovery while maintaining a healthy and non-addictive lifestyle. Already being a board-certified licensed massage therapist drove me to further my education into a clinical setting treating patients who suffer from anxiety, depression, opioid addiction, and substance abuse. I became a licensed cannabinoid hemp retailer along with being awarded the 50th card license in the state of New York. My passion stems from saving lives with no accidental overdoses due to prescription medication. We co-founded the Long Island Cannabis Club, which is the 4th legal cannabis dispensary on Long Island, engaging our communities with education and advocacy, collaborating with the Office of Cannabis Management, as well as the Long Island Cannabis Coalition. We started here in Islip, engaging residents, educating them on the benefits of going legal and opting in. We need your support to engage a broader scale and opening up the borders, opting into legal cannabis, providing this community with safe, highly regulated, lab-tested products, helping us contribute to the township's bottom line with every legal purchase made. Help ensure a place where 21 and older will not gain access. We are here to bridge the gap away from the illicit and steer the residents towards a legal storefront. We would love your support to continue educating the residents of Islip, positively impacting this community and help improve the quality of life into a healthier standpoint. And we can do this in a chemical dependency-free way. Going green will help you stay clean. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next speaker, Nancy Rousseau. Nancy Rousseau. Oh, dear. I'm going to take a stab at oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Rousseau. I'm a social worker and an LMSW. I also work for Youth Enrichment Services in the Prevention Division. I am new to YES, and I'm also new to Islip. I'm a new resident.
Could you please speak into the microphone? Thank
Sure.
you.
I will speak to you as an Islip resident. I have children, but they're no longer young children. When I heard that the town of Islip was considering opting in to the legal retail sale of cannabis, I became concerned about the safety of those children of my Islip neighbors, their physical and emotional safety. One of my teenage neighbors was just accepted to her #1 college choice. I would see her leave the house every day to walk to school. What if one day she was hit by a driver who was impaired by cannabis as she was walking to school? Although my young neighbor was strong enough to stay away from cannabis, despite the peer pressure she may have endured, she was maimed or killed by cannabis via the impaired driver. How will the extra revenue from the cannabis dispensaries help my teenage neighbor after this hypothetical accident? Would this additional revenue be used to better enforce the cannabis use laws? Would this additional revenue be used to create and implement laws and practices that would protect my neighbors in Islip? Would this additional revenue be used to identify the underage cannabis users? Would this additional revenue be used to identify the legal cannabis users who commit crimes under the influence? Once identified, what will be done? As a new Islip resident, I love it here. I don't want to see laws implemented that would negatively alter my feelings of my new hometown of Islip. What would occur if the town of Islip opts in and subsequently receives reports that support that the revenue was not worth the additional law enforcement hours to protect Islip residents? It was not worth the increased crime rate. It was not worth the possible reduction of property values of homes located near the cannabis dispensary. It was not worth the possible increase of insurance rates of businesses located near the cannabis dispensary. It was not worth the loss of the bright futures of Islip youth, and it was not worth the loss of life. And remember, when we opt in, we would not be able to opt out. What do we do then?
Thank you. Osbert Erduna.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor. My name is Osbert Orduña. I am the co-founder of the Service Disabled Veterans and Cannabis Association and the CEO of the Cannabis Place Dispensary. I lived in the town of Islip for many years. My children went to school here, I owned property here, and I was a volunteer fireman here. The town's measured approach was correct. But now you can see and review the data from places like Babylon and see the positive impact that legal, regulated cannabis sales have had on the town and its tax base. But this goes well beyond that. Today, we have heard opposition against legal dispensaries, while at the same time doing nothing about illicit smoke shops, gas stations, and other places selling unlicensed, untested, unregulated, trafficked cannabis and illicit hemp products to our youth and throughout our communities. By contrast, legal dispensaries require each person to show ID to prove that they are 21 years or older to enter. Products sold in licensed dispensaries are tested, regulated, and include education for consumers. As a disabled veteran, I entered the cannabis industry after seeing many of my veteran brothers and sisters succumb to suicide due to dealing with PTSD and chronic pain. You see, suicide is the second leading cause of death for veterans. Cannabis has been a positive life changer for many veterans. Cannabis has also helped innumerable patients, including cancer patients, and probably even multiple people you know. Like I said earlier, I am the CEO of the Cannabis Place Dispensary. We operate the largest free delivery service on Long Island. Let me share some data with you. Here in the town of Islip, the average age of our cannabis client is between 40 to 65 years of age. The clients are female, and the product they purchase most are edibles, specifically edibles that help with sleep issues, chronic pain, and menopause. The maximum dose of which is 100 milligrams. By contrast, illicit stores operating within walking distance of Town Hall are selling unlicensed products that are 100 times more potent. I urge you to review the 1972 Schaefer Commission report that decades ago proved that cannabis was a product that was safer than alcohol, cigarettes, and safer than many prescription medicines. Cannabis is not a gateway drug. I urge you to vote yes for the licensing of dispensaries to ensure a safe, regulated industry instead of the illicit stores that currently operate in the town of Islip. Vote yes based on the data that proves that legal cannabis is not the enemy and instead provides good-paying careers, safety, and opportunity to continue to do things the right way. The Service Disabled Veterans and Cannabis Association welcomes the opportunity to proactively work with you, the town of Islip. And please note that synthetic cannabinoids, fake marijuana that is lab-made, and includes psychoactive substances is being sold throughout the town. Shut down those stores and do the right thing and allow legal, regulated cannabis for those adults 21 and over who want to access safe, licensed dispensaries to have the opportunity to do so in a responsible manner. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Martin Kamernick. Martin Kamernick. Martin? Marcus Carrillo.
Yes, how you doing? My name is Marcus Carrillo. I'm a lifelong resident of Suffolk County, living both between Babylon and town of Islip. And I started off as a user of marijuana, and I also sold marijuana for many years illegally. And off that, I received a criminal record and everything off of that I currently fixed my life. I changed it for the better. But at the end of the day, it's still available like it was back then. Anybody can get what they want to get, where they want to get it, how they want to get it. Realistically, the regulation of it, by making it a legal location where it's regulated, is way safer between purchasing, between health, between everything. As we all know, Islip is a town that has always sought innovative ways to enhance the well-being of its residents and stimulate local growth. Legalizing cannabis is one such opportunity, one that not only aligns with progressive change across the state, but also holds the potential to transform Islip into a hub of economic growth. Let's state facts. New York State legalized cannabis for recreational use in '21. Many neighboring towns have embraced retail cannabis shops, and the results have been impressive. Take Hempstead, for instance. Their cannabis retail shops have generated substantial revenue, with some reports showing over $25 million in sales in just the first year of operation. Similarly, the town of Brookhaven, which borders Islip, has seen a 25% increase in tax revenues since welcoming cannabis retailers into their community. These are not just numbers, these are tangible benefits, jobs created, benefits thriving, and essential revenue that goes directly into enhancing local services, including our schools, infrastructure, and public safety. Cannabis retail shops are an economic engine that will directly benefit Islip. According to New York's Office of Cannabis Management, 40% of cannabis sales revenue is earmarked to community reinvestment, which includes programs aimed at youth, education, economic development, crucial investments for our future. Not to mention with cannabis sales growing across the state, New York is projected to generate more than $1.5 billion annually from marijuana-related industries. As Islip, we shouldn't miss out on that revenue stream. But beyond economics, there's also a matter of social justice. By legalizing cannabis, we can help right the wrongs of decades of disproportionate enforcement in our communities. Legal cannabis means safer products, regulated sales, and an end to the criminalization of responsible adult use. It's an opportunity to empower our local community and show our commitment to fairness and inclusion. While it's true that there are concerns such as potential increases in traffic or the impact of young people, the data from other communities shows that when cannabis is properly regulated and responsibly implemented, these issues can be mitigated. Retail cannabis.
Thank you. Kiana Anderson.
There's a B area in there, right?
Yeah.
Two names. Good afternoon, good evening now. My name's Kiana B. Anderson. I'm a representative for the Long Island Progressive Coalition, who was active in helping pass the MRTA across the state. We canvassed, we did door knocking, and we did the education pieces across Long Island to make sure that residents, elected officials, business owners and entrepreneurs actively knew what the MRTA legislation was. And I would strongly encourage the town Islip council members to read the legislation. It's only 108 pages. It is a comprehensive economic and social justice bill. It is more than just allocating revenue to residents through cannabis retail sales, but it offers many opportunities outside of the cannabis retail space in the aspect of jobs. Long Island, I've been a Long Island resident all of my life. I'm 31 years old. I turned 32 this July. And Long Island is good for an opt-out. We opt out of tests, we opt out of cannabis, we opt out of housing, we opt out of rental units, we opt out of everything. And the reality of constantly opting out means that my generation of millennials and the generation after me are going to leave. There are no housing opportunities for us. There are no job opportunities for us. You all told us to go to school and get a degree and we would have a future. That does not exist on Long Island. A Long Island equity study recently released by the Urban League of Long Island says that Long Island is losing $24 billion in revenue because of economic policies that shorten the opportunities for my generation. The growing age group of Long Island residents is between the ages of 25 and 55. We are the individuals who want to do drugs. This world right now, with everything that is going on, is very complicated, and we should not be penalized because of the rights that parents do have to keep their children safe. In my opinion, the best disinfectant is light and truth. To advocate that we should opt out because we want to protect children, has that ever actually worked? Let's all remember what age we were in high school and what we were doing. Let's be real about what we were doing in high school. And when someone told us not to do something, was that actually the deterrent, or was it proper education that will come from retail cannabis and opting in? Instead of automatically saying no, let's actually read and learn what opportunities exist and what education is included in the bill, and have a comprehensive conversation and decide ultimately that the revenue is necessary because the town of Islip raised taxes for its budget last year. And that is something else that all town residents should know. Every township on Long Island chose to raise taxes. How could you choose to raise taxes and simultaneously opt out of revenue?
Thank you. Next speaker, Lorraine Pace. Lorraine Pace. Oh, no. Danielle Karua. Danielle Karua. Okay. Well, Danielle, if you're here, you're on deck. Do you see her? Okay, Danielle? Danielle Carrera? Michelle Cole? Lorraine?
I'll be very quick, and thank you for having this today. My concern is driving on the roads with impaired drivers. You see them weaving in and out. And if we should do anything, we should listen to the people that deal with this on an everyday basis, such as Charlie Gandolfo, that sees all the accidents on the roads, such as the police that have to pull them over. And it's harder for the police to detect what they're under the influence of. So as a driver and as a 70-year-old Islip resident, I'm very concerned. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. Michelle Cole?
Thank you. According to the CDC, early local reporting indicates that Suffolk County, particularly Islip, has seen a significant increase, one of the highest in Suffolk County, of opioid deaths and heroin, especially due to it being laced. It's not kids, it's adults. So how can that be when you have no legal cannabis shops here? Illegal cannabis can be laced with fentanyl. Cannabis stores will reduce laced illegal drugs. They will educate and they will regulate. It will control the cannabis on the streets. Would you rather your residents meet under a street lamp to purchase illegal drugs, or go someplace where it's regulated and safe? It's going to happen. They're going to buy it illegally. So why not do something where your residents are safer? There's an economic crisis, and programs and state funding is being cut. These stores can fund the programs in the town of Islip. In September, the town of Islip has an initiative in memory of the lives lost, those to recovery, and the Islip families affected by mental health and substance use can be funded by the revenue of these cannabis stores. In Babylon, cannabis stores currently contribute heavily to community outreach. They can support mental health and other programs that support the betterment of the families of the town of Islip. Legal cannabis stores are an asset. We understand that something new brings fear. This week, for those who are opposing this, go visit the Babylon stores. Look at the security. Look at the safety. They are beautifully built. They're not what you see on TV crime shows. Earlier, someone said you have an issue with prostitution and sex trafficking. The revenue will assist with cleaning that up because the state will not give you the money to fund these programs. Everything is being cut through the board. You will not have the money to do it. Cannabis revenue will help. Things said earlier in this meeting that are not true. Someone said collisions are caused by cannabis. The #1 killer for car accidents is alcohol, and alcohol is on every block in your town. They also said that the cannabis stores are a burden to the police. That's not true. These stores have their own licensed security, no burden to put to the police. The security of these shops are mandated, and they are very strict. Someone also said earlier that someone said that the taxes were supposed to go down. No one said that. They're not making that claim. So that was untrue. A high school counselor just spoke, social workers spoke, and about her not-for-profit for kids. Again, these cannabis stores will fund those programs. They are for the community. They are for education. They are for safety. They are for regulating. And they will fund a lot of these programs that you need funding. They're here to help, and they will help, and they will clean up some of your streets.
Christopher Levy. Christopher Levy.
Should you start?
Yep.
Thank you for having me, by the way. It's got to be a long day for you guys. Thank you for the opportunity for the community to speak. What I would like to advocate for here is actually the Long Island culture. And growing up as an Islip person, I'm very fond of my culture. I'm very fond of Long Island. One of the things, I'm not going to try to pronounce the Latin. I haven't taken that since high school. But one of the things your motto, town motto says, I think should be a leader in developing the cannabis on Long Island. We should have trust in our community, but we should also know who they are and where they're coming from and what they're doing. If we're just going to be like trying to push everything to the side and say, oh, it's not happening here, I think there are people who have said things are happening here. But, when it's what would be worse for an investigation of an accident, I think, is if there was no actual retail store that they actually bought it from, and it was just randomly on the street. You don't even know who's responsible for supplying the stuff to the drivers, right? If you got a store, you can actually investigate where it's coming from and stuff, right? I'm just making that point. But what I'd like to say is Long Island community and Long Island culture should be a leader, not here just in Long Island. We should be a leader in cannabis culture development across our country because it is a revolving thing, right? Like it looks like it's happening for across the country, unless there's going to be a major U-turn in policy. So why aren't we stepping up to develop and be the ones that people are looking to for answers for the rest of the country? Because, it would be really great if Long Island, which our brand name, I think, in the cannabis culture for the rest of the country has enough brand power as New York City itself. If we develop it correctly, right? But if we allow corporations to come in, 1 or 2 businesses to be able to own every dispensary from seed to sale, then there's not going to be no Long Island culture actually represented in our stores. It's not going to be something that we can actually control local. But I'm just putting my opinion out there, and I know that these are all my opinions, and I do appreciate you for the opportunity to say them. Developing an example and being a role model, I think will protect the kids more than slapping their hand and saying no. That's just my opinion. But anyway, I should see my time to the next person. Thank you.
Thank you. Kristen Kripe.
Thank you again for letting me speak. So I'm not up here to debate the efficacy of marijuana. We know that it does have its place in certain areas, and as adults, we're allowed to use it when it's, I should say, it's legalized. We're able to, just like alcohol, we're able to partake in it. So we're not here to debate that as far as the availability of it if you're as an adult, or if the efficacy, how it's helped you or it has not helped you. Unfortunately, though, we've heard tonight, we've heard a lot of compelling information from both sides stating the benefits, the people that are in favor for it or opposed to it. And everybody's had really, really good information from their sides. But as we know, stats can be manipulated. And even sitting here tonight, I've heard several stats being contradicted. One saying, we've had information, we have the data suggesting that there's no increased criminal activity in Babylon or these other places that have had these storefronts. But Islip is different than any other town. Most towns do not have a main street. They have service roads where you have these, the strip malls and stuff like that. They're not like ours. And I know when I grew up on the North Shore, looking for a place on the South Shore, I wanted a village. I wanted a place, an actual village, not a place with strip malls, and a place that I felt was a community. And so when people are stating data, and there's a lot of debate, data being thrown around here, are we really, like somebody had mentioned before about they had done some stats, it was the seed to plant, or I forget what the name of that actual representative was. But we're not seeing, we really don't have that data, and I'd really love to know, is it a meta-analysis or is it a random control? Do we really have enough data to support what people are talking about, either pro or against? And I really think we really need to look at that again and really look at the data and where it's coming from. Because as I said, if you know anything about statistics, you can manipulate it to the best, to however you want it to fit your, or support your side. So I'd really like to see that. And as someone being in the community and also an occupational therapy provider with pediatrics, I see the downside. I see that, the kids that are at risk. And having something that's normalized in our community, as I said, I'm not opposed to the use of it as a recreational, but within the community, when you start having access, Islip is a business. Like any other form of government, you're in a business. And before you scale your business larger, you better make sure that the plan you have now, the business you have, is actually successful and functional. We're not there yet. We still have underage drinking, and we're not saying that we're angels here, and we all know what we did when we were younger and such, but we already have an issue. The stats and data show we have a high rate of underage drinking going on. Now you want to add another component to the area for accessibility? I think we have to look at our numbers, and we have to look at this business and see if it's worth scaling up.
Thank you. Next speaker is Steve Geller.
Good evening. Thank you all for your time. So we've heard what I would categorize as three main reasons for the legalization of dispensaries in the town of Islip tonight. I think it's fair to say that the majority of those opinions came from people in the cannabis business. The first is that legalization of dispensaries will somehow clean up and control illegal sales of I'm sorry, I'm an old guy. I was going to say marijuana, cannabis. Listen, we know that's not true, okay? There's always going to be a black market. People are going to want stronger cannabis. People are going to want to undercut the price. People are going to want to sell it to kids, okay? On the subject, so those are always going to exist. On the subject of kids, how can making sales legal 500 feet away from a school help keep drugs away from kids? 500 feet, that's down your block. Okay, the second thing we heard was the virtues of medicinal cannabis. Okay, that's probably true. I wouldn't argue it, but those can be sold that can be sold in pharmacies. We don't need, and I don't think that's really part of the discussion tonight anyway. The last is we heard mostly about tax revenue. So let's just say that is true. This pot of gold is waiting for us at the end of the rainbow, even though we know that the reality is the amount of money that filters down to the things that's going to help is always way less than what's promised. Let's say it was true. The reality is getting money off of it doesn't make it the right thing to do. Okay? In fact, the definition of immorality is doing the wrong thing because it benefits you. So lastly, the state made this legal, but they gave the towns the right to opt out. Choose the right thing, please. Opt out. Thank you.
Thank you. Brandon Cruz.
Hi, I'm going to speak to you as a resident of Bayshore and a self-proclaimed pothead. So I understand that many people my age don't come to these meetings, which is really unfortunate because I don't think that this room is an accurate depiction of all of your constituents. I can pretty confidently say that most people under 35 are probably in favor of this legislation. I hear and I understand the concerns of my fellow residents, the drivers, the kids. I mean, I really hear you. However, it's already legal and it's here to stay, and fear-mongering about kids having access, which they already have, or drivers on the road that are driving high, which are already on the road, is not going to change anything. It's already here. Whether or not Islip opens a dispensary, these issues are still going to exist, and it's not going to change. And there should be conversations and actions taken to address these issues. But as somebody who knows where the illegal stores are, knows people who buys weed from them, smokes that weed, and knows I can send one text message right now and buy all the illegal weed I want, not opening a dispensary here is not going to change any of those things. When I get out of this meeting tonight, I'm going to go home and I'm going to smoke marijuana. A dispensary not opening is not going to change that. The only difference is, am I going to give you my money, or am I going to drive 10 minutes to Babylon and give it to them instead? And I spend a lot of money on weed. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Christina Marks. Christina Marks.
Hi, good evening. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but after listening to everybody, I just wanted to give a few points of feedback. My name is Christina Marks. I'm a West Islip resident for 25 years, and I also sit on the West Islip School Board. And as somebody who sits on a board, I just want to thank those of you that have been able to remain engaged and make eye contact this evening. Just watching you guys, I think that makes a big difference, and I appreciate that. I know you're probably all tired and hungry, and it's a long night, and I appreciate your service. As mentioned before, in West Islip, we do have industrial zones that are very nearby schools. Am I afraid that one of our students is going to be legally allowed to get in the store? No. But everyone knows that you drive on the southern state, everyone is smoking and driving. I don't want extra people smoking and driving into West Islip. I don't envision the juxtaposition of the Islip Goes Purple flags next to a pot shop in West Islip. I just don't think with the law, the way it's written, with it being able to be within 500 feet or on the same street as a school is enough. And I know that I've heard the intent is for it not to be in West Islip. It's to be far away. It's to be in these remote locations. Intent is not going to be written into the law. And as the turnover of people on this board is, those opinions can change. Lastly, I would just like to make note that a lot of people have come here tonight speaking are not from town of Islip. They're from all over Long Island, and frankly, those people are here to make money. I would hope that you give weight to your town of Islip residents who have voting power and who live here and work with our youth, as so many people have spoken about tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Leon McAvoy.
Hello, I'm here tonight, and I'd like to thank you guys for giving me the privilege and opportunity for me to speak to you. I've been in Islip my whole life. When I was 12, I started a baking business, and Ms. Carpenter, you were one of the people to buy them. I walked up into your office, and I've had some really great experiences with the town of Islip. It's a really great place. And looking at your seal, right above your head, Ms. Carpenter, there's a saying, Fide sed que vide, faith but with vision. I'd like to ask all of you guys to have vision tonight. Now, I'm not saying anything about why we shouldn't have cannabis. I'm not giving those arguments. Why should we have cannabis? That's the big question. Because frankly, there haven't been any good reasons listed. They say that we're going to have $2 million more a year in revenue. Well, there are 300,000 people in Islip, and if you break up $2 million to each of them, that comes down to $6 for each of us. For each of us in this room, $6 more on our taxes, which can be like $10,000 to $20,000, right? $6 more for each of us by promoting cannabis. That's not the real issue. It's not a monetary issue at this point. Another reason that's been cited is that we're going to have safer use of it because it won't be through illegal dispensaries. The point that needs to be cited here is Babylon's just a 20-minute bus ride over that way. It's not that hard to get over to Babylon. I take the bus around Islip all the time. I take it to Sayville a lot. Getting to Babylon is pretty darn easy. So legal cannabis is easily procurable because it's right next door. By putting it in our hometown, you're not changing just how easy it is to procure. You're just making it more, you're further populating it. And the last thing I wanted to point out is there's been a lot of hammering on the medical uses of marijuana. A lot of us drive farther than Babylon for our doctor's appointments. So why do we need these things in Islip? Islip is a great town. We're one of the towns on Long Island that's like a sparkling gem. We've got the Great South Bay over there. We've got a lot of opportunities open to us. We've got the clams in the water. We've got the Robert Moses Beach a couple minutes away. So many amazing things about this town. And we don't have any reason to introduce this. Monetary reason? No. It's $6 for each of us. The deal is bigger than that. Cannabis is still safe. Cannabis can still be used medically, but it doesn't need to be here. Thank you for letting me speak, and have a nice evening.
Thank you. We have no other cards on this subject. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I would like to make a motion to close the public hearing, keep the public record open until May 15th, so interested parties can continue to send emails and letters to those of us up here who are struggling with this decision. And I would like to include in that motion to put this matter on for a decision item at our July 15th meeting, which gives us plenty of time to consider all of the options available to us. Additionally, I think a lot of the statements have been made tonight by members of the speaking public don't understand that there was a piece of legislation that was before us tonight that is a resolution, and statements were made that are direct contradiction to the resolution that is before us. It's limited to a particular industrial corridor, nowhere near West Islip. It's not 500 feet from a school. It's 1,000 feet from a school. It's 2 dispensaries in the beginning. So it will also, I think this time will also allow the public who have come out here tonight passionately about this issue to read the proposed legislation that this town board is considering. So that is my motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? You have,
I just wanted to make a statement as well.
Certainly, go
So
ahead.
I think it's good, and I'm going to vote to table this and keep the public comments open. I think it is important when you bring up one issue, sometimes another issue does come to the table. And I've spoken to many people in the West Islip community, some in the Bayshore community as well, and there does seem to be a rampant problem with the illegal operations, and I would hope that we can get together with code enforcement and the Suffolk County Police Department and look to try and shut those down. And just please call us and give us those. If we don't know about the locations, we can't check into them. So I urge you to reach out for that.
We have a motion, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Excuse me? We have 4 in favor and 1 abstention. The motion passes. Okay, that takes care of the public hearings. We now move to the public portion. And we have a number of cards that have been filled out to speak on the public portion. Again, you have 3 minutes. Do you think we should take like a 5-minute?
I would think so, yeah.
Okay. We're going to take a 5-minute recess. We will be back at 8:25. Okay, we have a number of cards in the public portion. I don't know if they're all still here, but we will go through them. Again, 3 minutes. It's not a question and answer. We're here to listen to your comments and concerns. First speaker is Jim Schlau. Left. Okay, Susan Cabell. Michael Hooker.
Thank you. Michael Hooker, 40-year resident, Sayville. I'm here about Island Hills. You all know what it is. You're going to hear a lot of things about traffic and all sorts of stuff. I'm here about right and wrong and fairness. The rec was bought residential property. They want the town to spin their straw into gold. If they want to build commercial, they should have bought commercial. The entire surrounding community is going to have to subsidize their gain with quality of life and depressed home values. And that's just wrong. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't be allowed to happen. The town should not be a party to it. I came here in a Corolla. If I could get the town to re-register for me as a Rolls Royce, I'd be great, but it's not going to happen. They should not be allowed to build what they want to build. They should build, if they want to make money, they should build single-family homes. That's what it's zoned for, and that's what it should be. Anything else is not right. Those people that live around it are going to suffer for the rest of their lives. Lighting, traffic, noise. It's just not fair. It shouldn't happen. There's plenty of commercial property available. That's what they should be building. And that's my opinion. There's a lot of other things, you know, all sorts of, you're going to hear all sorts of stuff. But the bottom line is the community should not be subsidizing millionaires against their will. There's no upside to that thing being built in their community. They're not going to get anything out of it. It's only going to be a downside. And it just shouldn't be allowed. It's quite frankly un-American. It's a transfer of wealth. And it's not with their consent. And at that point, it should be shut down. Let them build houses or let them sell it to somebody who's willing to build houses. Nobody's going to complain if houses are built there. That's what it's zoned for. If somebody complained, I tell them, listen, you can't complain. That's what it's zoned for. I was in the auto business for a long time. I fixed a ton of broken windshields from people who lived around the golf course. And the golf course never paid a dime because their thing was, we were here first. Tough. Now the community's there first. So why does the community have to bend to Reckler? They didn't, you know, it's just, it's not good. It shouldn't happen. I got a little time left on the cannabis thing. Interesting debate. The only thing I want to say is I don't get high. I don't drink. But I've lived a long time. I pay attention. 4 drunks will start a fist fight. 4 stoners will start a band. And I got 8 seconds left. I had a problem last year. The town clerk, extremely helpful. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Just for a point of information, the Island Hills project, there's going to be a public hearing when that comes before us, but that is not before us this evening. It's not on the agenda, but certainly we're here to listen. No, that's okay. John Tafe.
Hello, John Tafe, Sayville, New York. Good evening. I first want to say thank you for allowing me to speak, and to Supervisor Carpenter. That was a great State of the Town address this morning, and great work by all for the improvements to our town. I'm here tonight speaking about the many residents, including myself, who have spent years standing up for our community in the face of the Island Hills proposal. The fate of our community now rests in your hands. This decision, your decision, will shape the future of Sayville and the surrounding area for generations. And the truth is simple. This project will forever change the community we know and love. The developer is not asking for a small zone change. They are asking to write their own zoning code through a planned development district, or PDD, a code that serves their financial interests, not the public good. That is not planning. That is policy for sale. This project calls for 890 housing units, where only 98 are currently allowed. That's a 908% increase in density in a neighborhood built for single-family homes, not high-density development. This proposal would bring 5,000 to 7,000 new vehicle trips per day, flooding already congested roads like Lakeland Avenue, 11th Street, and Sunrise Highway. School buses, emergency vehicles, and commuters will all be delayed. The strain on infrastructure, emergency response, and local schools will be immediate and irreversible. Let's be clear, SECRA, the State Environmental Quality Review Act, gives you the legal right and duty to say no when a project possesses significant impacts to traffic, infrastructure, environmental resources, and community character. This proposal, likely as it did the first time, will fail in many of these categories. If you approve this, you'll be disregarding the very laws and the comprehensive plan, albeit old, and thank you for working on the TOI 360. I'm very happy about that, designed to protect our communities from this exact type of overdevelopment. Tonight, I'm also here presenting hundreds of letters from residents who stand with me in opposition to Island Hills. Many of those who stood outside in the cold before this meeting protesting peacefully because they care deeply about the future of this town. Their message is clear. They expect to be heard. They expect their representatives to act on their best interest. So I ask you, when it's time to decide, will you stand with your residents, your voters, and the facts and laws behind us, or will you hand over our future to a developer rewriting the rules to suit their profits? Please do what's right. Your community is counting on you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. The next speaker, Just for Pause, Cat Rescue TNRinc.org, whomever that might be.
Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm the founder of Just for Paws, Cat Rescue, Trap, Neuter, Return Incorporated. I live in the town of Islip, and we have a serious problem that deals with unfixed cats, no TNR program, and the people that I help with in this community don't have money, and they're going into their pockets deep to help fix a very serious problem in that town. I'm in care of 3 cases right now that do not have any support, okay? We need funding. We need funding with the shelters like we had a couple of years ago, and it's bad. It's bad. Cats are getting injured. Cats are fighting. They're getting pregnant. There's unwanted kittens that we have to find homes for. We have to socialize them. We're putting in time. I don't want to get emotional, but we lost a staple to the community in Medford last week who dedicated his life to saving these animals with Happy Cat Sanctuary. His name was Chris Arsenault, and he was, there's no words to describe Chris. People dumped cats on him. And we are now picking up those pieces. There's several cats that were not neutered or spayed. And there's teams of rescues right now, boots on the ground, helping these innocent animals that didn't ask to be here because there was no TNR program available. And I think we need to step up, and even if it's part of tax funding, it's pennies that are coming out of the residents' pockets to help support a problem that's not only the communities, it's state, and it's nationwide. And somebody needs to step up and help these animals because we're exhausted. We've exhausted our funds. We do fundraising. We do everything we can, and it's just not enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Tree Zidor.
Tree went home sick. She asked me to read her speech for her. Tree was a regular volunteer at the clinics that we ran at the shelter all the time. So she says, I think we can all agree there is a feral cat problem which is only getting worse with each new litter that is born. It is in everybody's best interest to work together to solve this problem. It is well documented that TNR is the best method to solve this problem. On March 16th, there was an article in Newsday about the town of North Hempstead's cat problem. In that article, it states, and I'm quotes, the town allocated $40,000 for the voucher program, which was implemented in June. The article goes on to describe the process for obtaining a voucher, a trap, and contacting Helping Poor, which runs the clinic at their shelter. The town of North Hempstead also contracted with All About Spay and Neuter, which will provide TNR services for that town. Many of the neighboring towns here have similar contracted TNR programs with rescue organizations and veterinarians. For example, the town of Babylon uses money from their shelter budget to fund a TNR voucher program with the Farmingdale Dog and Cat Clinic. The town of Brookhaven has a model TNR program which utilizes both shelters, utilizes both the shelter as well as a contracted partner. The money is also allocated through their town's budget. In 2024, the town of Brookhaven fixed 1,000 cats, and they have pledged to do the same this year, but they're going to do half, 500 in the shelter and 500 with a contracted partner. Now, the town of Huntington gives every household 5 free spay neuters per year for feral cats. This service is free of charge, and the town pays for it, and they even recuperate their cats, which was amazing. They have designated a separate part of their shelter as an isolation area, which is a model we might want to look at. In addition to the ones already mentioned, the town of Smithtown, Southampton, and Hempstead all have programs. It is long overdue for the town of Islip to step up to the plate and fund a TNR program. It's the humane thing to do.
Thank you. Michelle Allier.
I actually wasn't expecting to speak, so I'm not sure why my name is on there. But I actually am the manager of Farmingdale Dog and Cat that Barbara just mentioned, and all of our TNR programs have now been switched over to the nonprofit Fixing Felines. We've been working very hard with the town, with Marty, and we have come up with something. It's just the reality is that people have to be patient. We do have a significant problem on Long Island. We're actually in crisis mode. I realize that I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, but I'm assuming that you all live in areas where you don't have the luxury of seeing these feral and stray cats running around your homes, and that's why you don't understand the significance of the problem that is out there. The reality is that what we're doing is looking at kittens and watching them die all day long, and that's not right. It's mentally and physically exhausting. I spent my entire Sunday at the Happy Cat Sanctuary vetting 175 cats that were covered in burns, all kinds of damages to their body, wounds, just in all kinds of disarray. 175 cats that survived so far. 150, I don't know if you know, or have died. No one on this earth should be housing 150 or 170 or 200 cats or 300 cats because the town will not help them. The shelters are full. Let us help you. The only way that we can help the shelter is by decreasing the amount of animals that are out there. I worked on a project a couple of months ago. I wrote to every single member on this panel. No one has gotten back to me. In an area in Brentwood where someone let their dog loose on a colony of feral animals, and these kids, they're worried about cannabis. These kids are watching this dog kill, slaughter, and eat these kittens. And this is what the children have to watch. And the priorities are really off here because that's just mentally, with the damage that's doing, they're watching this. No one thinks that there's a problem with it. It's a huge problem. These are going to be our future serial killers that are running around thinking that it's okay to hurt these animals. That's going to be a huge problem in the future. In that colony that I worked on, I pulled out a kitten that had no eyeballs. The eyeballs were ripped out of its head. This is what we're dealing with, and I don't understand how anyone, I hope you're listening because you're not even looking at me, but I hope you're listening. I don't understand how anyone can look at an animal and think that that's okay. It's not. I'm not a huge cat person. I only have 4 cats. I think that's okay. I think that's still the norm. But animal abuse is not right. And what's being allowed is the abuse of animals, and no one's doing a thing about it. And I think that's a tragedy.
Thank you, Michelle. Nancy Loeb Marshall. Joan Shapiro. Long night.
I know. Thank you so much for staying up. I left my notes on the kitchen table, so I'll try and make this quick. I am, no zone change in Sayville. I am so tired of seeing all these so-called affordable apartments going up. You drive down Sunrise Highway, which used to just be 4 lanes, and now it's huge, and all along there you're seeing these 3, 4-story apartments, buildings going up. And when we first moved out in 1980, we moved out so that we could have a little space with our kids, a little green space, a house of our own. It was a handyman special with the VA, and we've probably replaced every 2x4 eventually. But it's ours, and it's nice living in Islip. It really is. But I'm tired of seeing so many things being built and taking away the air and the green and the safety. And I really, I'm very tired. I'm really sorry. It is past my bedtime.
Well, thank you for coming down.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good night.
You too. Andrew Spitzfadden.
How you doing? My name is Andrew Spitzfadden, 55-year resident of Sayville. My house burnt down last year, and good thing is a neighbor came and saved my son, ran down the street with a ladder and saved his life. But anyway, I did lose my dog, though. I got a call for a hearing for that Islip wants to knock down my house. I do have all the paperwork that I am working on this demo. I have all my, I'm trying to get a demo permit right now. I got all my bills, all my letters for terminating the electric, and I had no sewers, the gas, and all that stuff. I have all those letters, asking for all those letters. I'm waiting for them in the mail. As soon as I get them, I will go and apply for the demo permit. I already hired a contractor to demo it for me, but we're waiting on the rest of the stuff to get the permit. The reason why this all happened, though, is I'm still not settled with the insurance company. The insurance company is, trying not to pay me anything towards this. So I had to hire a public adjuster for it and stuff like that. And then there's also vehicles on the property. I don't know, somebody said that they weren't registered. They are registered and insured. So I don't know, I do have to remove them. I'm going to donate one to the West Sayville Fire Department. Both my boys are West Sayville firemen, this 3rd generation in Islip Town. 4th generation, sorry, in Islip Town. And the other vehicle is coming with me. But anyway, I do have everything ready for this, and it will get done. I'm just asking if you can table it for a month or something, and you'll see that it does get rectified.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Next speaker, Marge Golden.
Good evening. My name is Marge Golden, and I'm here representing Rebecca Caro, the founder and president of Tender Loving Cats, TLC, and an Islip resident. In February, we were here presenting the case that it was important for the Islip Township to offer an ongoing TNR program, which stands for Trap, Neuter, Return. But now, in the wake of the recent Long Island house fire that claimed the lives of over 100 cats, the issues are even in higher focus, and we need to face a very hard truth. One man felt forced to shelter almost 400 cats in a single home on a half an acre of property. This tragedy didn't come out of nowhere. It is the result of a system that fails to support real and sustainable solutions. It is critical that townships support TNR. Sanctuaries are not the answer. TNR is. When we spay, neuter, and return cats to their territories, we prevent the birth of more unwanted kittens, reduce the suffering, and avoid the vacuum effect that causes populations to rebound when cats are simply removed. Colony caretakers should not have to move entire colonies into overcrowded sanctuaries. They need support from their local governments, resources, protection, and recognition, and not punishment or neglect. This isn't a problem that will fix itself. Ignoring it leads to more suffering, more overcrowding, and more tragedies. TNR works, but it only works with the real backing from the communities these cats live in. We need action now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Ann Pearsall.
Good evening to the members of the board and Supervisor Carpenter. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight, and I thank all the other speakers before me and after me in regard to the TNR. Trap, neuter, and release works. 7 years ago, my dog discovered 4 newborn kittens in my backyard. With the help of my friends in cat rescue, I was able to trap the kittens. The next step was to trap the mama cat. Along with the mama cat, I trapped 7 other adult cats. I never knew they were in my backyard or near my yard. Had I ignored the cats and the situation about, surely there would have been a few hundred cats and kittens roaming the neighborhood. Of the 8 adult cats trapped, 7 were female and 1 was male. That one boy was the troublemaker.
They usually are.
TNR works. I was able to get some of the friendly adults along with the kittens adopted. Today, in my backyard, there are only 2 ferals in my yard. So from the 8 plus the kittens, I'm down to 2. Some of the adults got adopted as well as the kittens. I live in Islip, and there are at least 10 feral cat colonies in my neighborhood alone. My dog and I walk our neighborhood, which is like 5 blocks by 8 blocks. There's at least 10 in that small little neighborhood that I live in. My 82-year-old friend in Oakdale currently feeds 30 colonies in Islip Township. What will happen to all those cats when she can no longer feed them? She's 82 years old and has been spending her own money on TNR. How sad is it that she cannot get assistance? I go to her house once a month to drop off a couple bags of cat food from Costco because I can help in my own little way. Having a TNR program in Islip is sorely needed to help all the caring people who are spending their own money to help keep the cat population down. There are many towns on Long Island who do have TNR programs. Islip is overdue to have one. Please approve of having a TNR program in Islip to help defray the cost of keeping the feral cat population down. Thank you for your time.
Sharon Semino.
Hello, good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Sharon Semino. I'm a resident of the Bayshore Brightwaters community for over 30 years, and I love where we live. I love the town of Islip. We did have a TNR program in place, as you know, a few years ago. Unfortunately, I don't think it was managed too well, and then fixing felines, thankfully, took over some of the responsibility, and we were doing pretty well with them. Just like Mary Ann was saying, she was very accurate in saying that there is a definite need for this program to continue. The colonies are not discriminating. They are in low-income areas, and they are in affluent areas. I actually, with the help of Michelle, trapped several cats in a hoarding situation right in the village of Brightwaters. So it's everywhere. It's in, nice areas, it's in the lower income areas, but the people need help and assistance in financially paying for these spay neuters. So just like another person had said, there are programs in other towns. Babylon has the voucher program. So I'm not exactly sure what the best option would be, but we need something. We need something to help. When I first started doing this, I knew nothing. I always loved animals, but I knew nothing about colonies. I thought colonies were like, from what you studied in high school, the 13 colonies that were from Britain. So when somebody first told me that there was a colony in Brightwaters, I tried to get help. Everybody was busy. It was May. They were inundated with kittens. So I was like, all right, let me figure out how to do this. So somebody was nice enough to teach me how to trap. And what I thought were only 5 cats ended up being about 40 cats. So the thing is, a lot of people think that these are nuisance animals. They're not. When I started trapping, it was mostly in landscaping yards. And the landscapers were actually upset with me because they thought I was taking them away. And I said, well, the friendly ones are going to get adopted, but the ones that are feral are going to come back to you, and they're going to come back to you a lot healthier. They're going to be spayed, neutered. They're not going to be creating more babies that are sick and dying. They're going to be vaccinated. The program that Fixing Felines had also treats them for fleas. They are coming back to the community a lot healthier, and it's healthier for everyone that is around them. And they do provide a service as well. The landscapers love them because they provide free pest control. It keeps the rodents off. So there is a definite lead. I would really appreciate if you do take consideration in trying to adopt a new program to help the residents of Islip that can help the cats. There was this horrible tragedy, as we all know. It's devastating what happened in Medford. Chris was a saint, but there was a lot on his back, and this should not have happened. And had there been better community programs for TNR, I don't think it would have happened. There was a wonderful article today in Newsday written by Linda Sturman, who's the president of Last Hope, and she clearly stated how the governments have to get involved. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Pat Montanino? No, Pat Montanino. I think, she left, okay. Barbara Keurig?
Hi. So I'm a cat rescuer. I'm also a colony caretaker. I love cats. I do not abandon them. I do not let them suffer. Everyone you hear from today about the TNR loves and cares for cats. And this is an important concept when it comes to the Agriculture and Markets Law, Section 355, which is the animal abandonment, which I'll address in a minute. I'm currently involved with the caring of 3 colonies for a total of about 50 cats. Recently, one of the cats in a Bayport colony, Mr. Gray, hurt his leg. I retrapped him, took him to the vet, got him treated, and recuperated him in my home, and he was released. This is just one of many stories I can tell you, but I only have 3 minutes, but I want you to know there has not been a kitten born in any of my colonies since 2019. Because any cat that's dropped or showed up gets trapped immediately, and if they're adoptable, we get them adopted mostly by me, and Mary's here. All my cats are from my colonies. All her cats are from our colonies. Suffice to say that any cat under my care, whether a colony cat or in my house, gets food, shelter, water, and medical care. Colony caretakers are out there 365 days a year in all kinds of weather. I'll send you all a text of me and my husband hiking through knee-high water to one of our colonies for about a mile round trip just to feed them when it flooded. Since my last appearance here in February and after meeting with Will Garbarino, I've been researching the Agriculture and Markets Law. And what I've come to learn is that, and what we all need to understand, is that these laws were written over 30 years ago, and that they actually don't pertain to TNR. In fact, the ASPCA has come out with a statement about some of the sections, so I want to read that to you. Section 347, Subdivision 2, which was written in 1987, delineates where, how, and to whom animals can be released. This particular subsection was designed to prohibit the sale of shelter animals for research and testing. The lawyer for the ASPCA in 2008, because a legal case came up with a township that wanted to have a TNR program, writes, trap neuter release for feral cats certainly has no relationship to the legislative goal underlying subdivision 2E, and indeed was not even contemplated by the lawmakers who enacted it. The ASPCA maintains that this subsection does not mean it is illegal for municipalities to, quote, provide funding or other resources to a TNR program. I'll get all this information to Will in the next 24. Ooh.
Okay, thank you. Dottie Zametti?
Okay. Good evening. My name is Dottie Zametti, and I'm the president of A Home at Last. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I wanted to talk about something that seems small at first glance, but has the power to save hundreds, even thousands of lives, and something that I believe strongly in, the importance of spay-neuter. Across the country, communities struggle with the overwhelming number of feral cats, many born outside, unsocialized, and living in colonies that grow exponentially without intervention. These cats aren't just strays, they're survivors of a system that fails them again and again. But this isn't just a story about numbers or logistics, it's a story about tragedy and how it could have been prevented. Last week, a devastating fire tore through Happy Cat Sanctuary, run by a kind, dedicated man who had spent his life rescuing and caring for abandoned cats. Chris Arsenault lived modestly, devoting everything he had to those animals. When the fire started, he refused to leave them behind. He died alongside more than 150 of his beloved cats. This wasn't just a tragic accident. It was a tipping point of a system under strain. That sanctuary was bursting at the seams, full of cats rescued from the streets. Many had come from colonies that could have been stabilized or even prevented with a proper TNR program. Instead, they kept multiplying. One rescue led to hundreds more, and in the end, compassion alone wasn't enough to keep everyone safe. TNR is the only humane and effective solution to this crisis. It works. It works. Over time, populations shrink, community complaints decrease, and the endless cycle of rescue, overcrowding, and tragedy slows down. If a robust TNR program had been in place, perhaps the sanctuary wouldn't have been overwhelmed. Perhaps the man who gave everything wouldn't have had to choose between his life and theirs. We owe it to him and to every feral cat out there to do better. Islip Town is bursting at the seams with stray feral cats. I know this. I'm out there in the field trapping these cats. We absolutely need a free, low-cost or a spay-neuter program in our town. TNR isn't just about managing populations, it's about honoring life, preventing suffering, and ensuring that no one else has to carry the burden alone. Where there's a will, there's a way. Chris always found a way. I implore the board to find one too. Let's not wait for another tragedy to act. Let's make a good spay-neuter program a priority for the cats, for our town, and for the heroes who give everything to save them. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. Laura Montanino?
Hi, good evening. Okay. My name is Laura Montanino. I live in East Islip, and we have a feral cat problem there. My house backs up to Heckscher State Park, so the cats come from either the park or wherever. But it started with a few cats, a few kittens coming around, and it quickly grew into a cat population and a neighborhood problem. It was no longer just my problem, it was the neighborhood. I asked my friend Barbara for help. She works as a volunteer in the cat community and was able to get low-cost neuter spays certificates from 3 different cat rescues, and thank God for that. A group of neighbors chipped in money to help pay for the cost, to offset some of the costs, and we were able to fix 22 cats. We used one of the rescues was A Home at Last, which helped immensely to offset the cost of the surgeries and assist with some of the recuperations. It's a big process these ladies go through to catch the cats. Barbara came multiple times to train them. The cats, the cats prior to the actual day of trapping. She supplied all the traps, the food, the litter. We had multiple appointments with Island Rescue. We engaged the neighbors, my neighbors, who also allowed us to use their garage to recover some of the cats. I personally incurred extra charges at the vet's office that weren't covered by the cat certificates. I was very happy to pay that, but it's a bigger problem than just the 22 cats we have. The process took a few months, and we were able to successfully TNR 22 cats. Even with the low-cost certificates, the monetary outlay added up quickly for 22 cats. There's still more cats, and I hope to start the process again in early spring, before the kittens were born, before we had a problem. And when I was told that the town's TNR program was canceled, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. It seemed to work so well. I feel between the neighbors that we have, the cat volunteers, we've done our part, working together, offering our time, money, supplies, our homes. Now it's time, I feel, for the town to do their part. This is a town issue. I implore you to reinstate the TNR program. It's a necessary and vital to our neighborhood and to the welfare of the cats. I also wanted to say, I think one of the alternatives, if somebody called about the cats, you would send like the, I guess the, I forgot the word, animal control to take care of them. And then you would pay to have them caught and disposed of, I guess. And this is a more humane and an easy, the town's going to have to pay one way or another, and this is a more humane way to do things. It's to catch the problem before it starts. And if you do the TNR, thank you very much.
Thank you. Lillian Epstein? Pardon me? Oh, okay. Greg Pepe? Left. Cheryl Woods? Or Shirley Woods? Cheryl.
My name is Cheryl Woods, and I lived in Bay Shore for the last 36 years.
Could you speak into the microphone?
Oh,
Thank
sorry.
you. Thank you.
Lived in Bay Shore for the last 36 years, and of course my priority was raising my family and my career. I'm a retired registered nurse, and I called today because I wanted to find out when you had town meetings, because I wanted to become more active in the community. And there is a safety issue in Bay Shore on Howells Road and Miriam Road. There's a lot of traffic there. Our view is obscured on both sides, particularly on the right side. When the trees start to grow, you really can't see that traffic. And then also on the right side. And this happens particularly during the rush hour, because Howells Road is connected to the Deer Park train station. So there's a lot. And my thought is, or my proposal is, if we can get a traffic light there that would make it, safe for us to make the turns. There is private property there, but if it's going to provide safety for people, that would be something that needed to be done. And also a crosswalk. There's no crosswalk there. There's no real sidewalk there, but a crosswalk would be perfect for someone walking a dog across. So I'm hoping that you can improve this safety issue, because it's probably a potential accident can happen there because of the obscurity on both sides. So I appreciate if you can look into that and see if that is something that could be done.
Okay. Cheryl, Howells Road's a county road. Miriam, I presume, is a town road. But I will give this to the DPW Commissioner and Traffic Safety, and they'll check it out.
Okay, I thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
you. And your number is on here, so we'll have someone contact you with. You're welcome. Ken Volodnicki? Well, you wrote pretty clearly, so thank you. Not everybody does.
You have to when you
It's
have a last
challenge.
name that long. Good evening.
Ken Kolodnicki, Durham Road in Sayville. As a 45-year resident of the town of Islip and of Sayville, I, along with my neighbors, urge our town of Islip leadership to deny the rezoning of the former Island Hills Golf Course property. The approvals that came on the urban revitalization of the property surrounding the Ronkonkoma train station mimics New York City. I feel sorry for the existing residents of that immediate area. Contrary to my personal feelings, I can somewhat understand that situation, since the Ronkonkoma train station is one of Long Island's most utilized, and it's within walking distance for the commuters that are renting in that new complex. Not the case in Sayville. Please focus on the Island Hills issue. It is in the middle of a residential single-family home area. To approve and mimic what was approved in Ronkonkoma would be totally out of character and totally detrimental to our community. Positive aspects are minimal. Do not fall prey to a Reckler City sewer plant connecting Main Street to a sewer plant in our backyards. It doesn't impress us. Negative aspects are many, such as environmental overload, traffic overload, and an overload of our local infrastructure, meaning adding to student school rolls and the ability to our fire department services to work effectively. I noticed on the new proposal a fire station to be added to Reckler City. Who will man this fire station, since our local fire departments have a difficult time staffing with volunteers? Please take all of these factors into consideration and deny the upcoming change of zoning request. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Next speaker, Laura Healy. Laura Healy. Patty McLary. Patty McLary. Did I see a hand go up back there, or you're just yawning? Okay, and Donna Hufford.
I'm coming up here to talk about the zone change as well. Private homeowners are community-minded. They have a vested interest in their community. I'm opposed to any zone change. Tenants tend to be transient. They take from the community and they don't give back to the community. Reckler bought property zoned for single-family homes. That's the way it should stay. Those of us who live close to the golf course overwhelmingly agree, no zone change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, there are no other cards. We have a motion to close the public portion.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman McElway, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor, opposed, the public portion is closed. We will now go to the agenda.
It won't be 3 seconds.
Okay, the item number 1 is the meeting of the Town of Islip Industrial Development Agency. Do I have a motion to convene? Motion. By Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Guardone. All those in favor, opposed, meeting is convened, a quorum is present. Mr. Walzer.
Thank you very much, and good evening, Madam Chair and members of the agency board. John Walzer, Executive Director, 40 Nassau Avenue, Islip, New York. I have several items for your consideration this evening. The first item is to approve the minutes from our last agency board meeting on February 11th.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman Lorenzo, second by Councilman McElway. All those in favor, opposed, the resolution is adopted.
Okay, the next item for your consideration is an inducement resolution between the agency and Chocolate Works located at 2100, or to be located at 2100 Pacific Street in Hauppauge. This project is a relocation and expansion for this manufacturer of chocolate food products from Nassau County. The company will be bringing with them 100 full-time employees and promising to add a minimum of 50 to that number.
We could use some of that chocolate, I think, tonight. I'll make that motion. All right, go ahead. Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Guadrone. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved.
Thank you. And the last item I have for your consideration is a resolution authorizing a sublease in a portion of the building at the project located at 215 Candlewood Road in Bay Shore.
Any questions? Motion by Councilman Guadrone. Second by Councilman McElroy. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. There is no other business to come before us. Motion to adjourn. Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Guadrone. All those in favor? Opposed? We stand it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 2, Town Board approval to designate Norsk Analyse as the sole source service center for the repair of the Siemens gas analyzers. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Guadrone. Second by Councilman McElroy. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 3 is the item to clean up and secure certain properties in the town. Jeff.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the Town Board, and the Town Clerk. Jeffrey Panache, Assistant Town Attorney, 655 Main Street, Islip, New York. I do have 6 matters on for your consideration here today. Number 1, to board up the premises located at 39 Violet Street in Central Islip. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists an open excavation with a depth exceeding 3 feet and no protective barrier, which constitutes a nuisance and creates a fire safety and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Guadrone. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved.
Thank you. Number 2, to board up and clean up the premises located at 50 Town Line Road in Hauppauge. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists open windows and an opening in the roof of the dwelling, allowing access to its interior, 2 unsecured accessory structures, as well as overgrown vegetation, litter, and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and creates a fire safety and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Guadrone. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved.
Number 3 has been withdrawn as the property is now considered by code enforcement to be in compliance. Number 4, to demolish the dwelling, accessory structure, and playhouse located at 376 Astor Drive in Sayville.
This was the parcel that the gentleman was here speaking on.
Yes, on this vacant property, there now exists an unsecure main dwelling that has sustained extensive fire damage, creating openings in the walls of the dwelling, allowing access to its interior. There also exists a dilapidated accessory structure and playhouse in the rear yard. After inspection, the main dwelling, accessory structure, and playhouse have been determined to be in imminent danger of collapse by our senior building inspector, and that parts of the structures have already fallen. This constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire safety and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises. I did have an opportunity, so the board's aware, to speak with the owner of the property who was here. He did indicate that he intends to do the work, and I told him, obviously, the board is going to consider the resolution and vote on it tonight, but there is a period of time before which the town acts upon those resolutions.
Okay. You'll be in contact.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
please?
Thank you.
If you don't mind?
Is there a motion?
Can I make a comment, please?
Excuse me?
Can I make a comment, please? Jeff, this gentleman and his family lost everything last year. The house is fenced in. He's doing everything in his power to get the insurance company to give him money so he can rebuild his family and move back into his home. I think we should give him some more time. I really request that we give him some more time. His entire family lost everything.
I certainly understand that. I did have an opportunity to speak with him, and that would be entirely up to the board.
It was my understanding that he was applying for a demo permit, so that doesn't sound like he's rebuilding it.
Right, I believe he had applied for a demo permit already.
He has to apply for a demo permit. It's burned down.
Right.
Correct. He has to apply for a demo permit.
The only downside for us, he appeared and asked for another month. The only downside for that, we'd have to renotice the hearing, the cost of renoticing the hearing.
That would be correct, yes.
I make a motion to adjourn for a month.
I'll second that motion. To adjourn for a month.
Which is what he asked us for.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. The fifth item,
Sure. Number 5, to board up and clean up the premises located at 1415 North Windsor Avenue in Bay Shore on this vacant and unsecured property, which had previously also sustained significant damage due to a structural fire. There now exists openings in the roof, windows, doors, and walls of the dwelling, allowing access to its interior, an unsecured accessory structure, as well as the presence of litter and debris consisting of discarded siding, an abandoned window air conditioner, propane tank, and pop-up style camper, and wood fencing in a state of disrepair, which constitutes a nuisance and creates a fire safety and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman McElway, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved.
And number 6, to demolish the 4 accessory structures located at 2114 Julia Goldback Avenue in Ronkonkoma. On this vacant property, there now exists 4 accessory structures in the rear yard that are deficient due to being in a state of disrepair. After inspection, the 4 accessory structures have been determined to be in imminent danger of collapse by our senior building inspector, and that parts of the structures have already fallen. Additionally, the main dwelling has an open basement window allowing access to its interior and a section of roofing that is currently in a state of disrepair. This constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire safety and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Lorenzo, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeff. Item 4, the bid awards. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman McElway, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 5 are the option year resolutions. Are there any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Lorenzo, second by Councilman Guadrone. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 6, authorization for supervisor to enter into an agreement with Eastern Suffolk BOCES for a joint municipal cooperative bidding program. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Guadrone, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 7, town board approval to rescind the contract with B&B Maintenance Services for fine sand for airport runway ice control, contract 1123-168. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Guadrone, second. Second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 8, an appointment of Timothy Huss as a member of the Town of Islip Environmental Council Board. Any questions? I'll make that motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 9, authorization for the town clerk to advertise for a public hearing to amend the Town of Islip Uniform Traffic Code. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Guadrone. Second by Councilman McElway. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 10, authorization for supervisor to execute an agreement with Suffolk County Department of Public Works to install a traffic signal on Carlton Avenue at Brightside Avenue in central Islip. Any questions? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Guadrone. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 11, an approval to terminate contract DPW 1-2021 with the Fenceman, Inc. for thermoplastic reflectorized pavement markings. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Guadrone, second by Councilman McElway. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 13 of the special events, 6 runs, 7 parades, festivals.
12. You said 13.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm reading it, and yes, it's item 12, are the special events. Are there any questions?
So I think for the second month in a row, correct? The second month in a row, we need a motion to set aside the town board rules first, correct? Make a motion to set aside the town board rules.
For the purpose of?
For the purpose of somebody who couldn't get their paperwork in on time for the second month in a row, so we will allow them to have their 5K run at Connecticut High School. And That will be my second motion, which will be to amend the special events calendar to include item X. But my first motion is to set aside the town board rules.
Okay. Okay, so the rules are set aside.
To vote on the motion, aye?
Aye, all in favor, it's set aside,
Correct.
yes.
Second motion is to amend the special events calendar to include item X.
Do we have a copy of item X?
Yeah, here you go.
Okay. And it's the Connect Quad Run?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Aye.
Motion?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
It is approved. Next, item 13, acceptance of a deed from Price Right Homes, Inc. for a piece of property located at 38 Condman Street in Brentwood for a corner radius dedication. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Guadrone, second.
Second.
By Councilman McElway. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 13, acceptance of a deed from Price Right Homes, Inc. for a piece of property located at 38, did I not just do that? Okay, we're up to 14, so sorry. Property located at 775 Eastview Drive, Central Islip for corner radius dedication. Any questions? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Guadrone. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 15, acceptance of a deed for a piece of property located at 836 Sunrise Highway in Bay Shore for a corner radius dedication. Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman McElway, second by Councilman Guadrone. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. 16, authorization supervisor to enter into several agreements for programs or events to be held throughout the town of Islip. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Lorenzo, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 17, acceptance of a dedication and release from Christine Bowani for a road extension fronting the property located at 1038 Montauk Avenue in Central Islip. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Guadrone. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 18, authorization for supervisor to execute a contract with Suffolk County Board of Elections to utilize Town of Islip facilities as polling places for primary, general, special elections, and early voting. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Lorenzo, second by Councilman McElway. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 19, authorization for supervisor to execute a license agreement with H2L Limo, Inc. to utilize designated pickup drop-off sites at Bayshore Marina, Fair Harbor Marina, and Atlantique Marina for the operation of its water transportation service. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Lorenzo. Second by Councilman Guadrone. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 20, authorization for supervisor to execute a license agreement with the Lake House for 14 parking stalls located at the terminus of Maple Avenue in Bayshore. Any questions? Motion by Councilman McElway, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 21, authorization for town clerk to advertise for a public hearing in connection with the airline use and lease agreement with Avello Airlines, Inc. at Long Island MacArthur Airport. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Guadrone, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 22, authorization for town clerk to execute all documents necessary for change order number 3 with J. Anthony Enterprises for general contracting services at Long Island MacArthur Airport. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Guadrone, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 23, the appropriation resolutions. I know that appropriation transfers, rather. I know they've been reviewed. Any questions? Motion? A motion by Councilman McElway, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Next is an approval to amend the 2025 adopted capital budget to reflect departmental changes. Are there any questions? I'll make that motion. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Guadrone. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. 25 of the bond resolutions. There are 13 bond resolutions to fund capital project. They will be considered individually, and we need a roll call vote on all of them. The first bond resolution is for various projects in and for the town at $3.435 million. Are there any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Guadrone. All those in favor? Opposed?
Oh, we need a
Approved.
roll.
I'm so sorry. Yes, we do. Madam Clerk?
Councilman O'Connor. Councilman Guadrone. Councilman Lorenzo. Councilman McGelway. Madam Supervisor.
Yes. I had asked the controller to write up a little narrative so that we would have some description of what this was all about. And the borrowing plan is slightly less than it was last year, but what we've consistently issued in 22 and 23. The debt service has fallen off in 25, so the impact of the 26 budget will be minimal. The bonds are being sold will fund a variety of projects ranging from heavy equipment, cybersecurity, and vehicles are examples. These items being essential to do the work that we do here in the town, protecting our facilities, having equipment for snow removal efforts, and securing the town's computer network, et cetera. We also have projects for public safety purposes such as intersection improvements, guardrails, radios, et cetera. Within the budget, there are some unique projects that will be performed by DPW specifically to address flooding issues in and around Browns River and Sayville and other locations, in addition to the $400,000 increase in drainage improvements over last year. Road paving is also a major initiative, accounting for almost a third of the borrowing, as well as working on sidewalk repairs throughout the town. Recreation also has a few new projects, and we will begin the design phase of the much-needed renovation of the pool at Casamento Park, which was built in the 60s, last renovated then, and the redesign at the golf course at Gull Haven. Turf fields are continuing to be installed, with the plans to finish the infields at the Little League fields on Eastview Drive. There are also some facility improvements and continued improvements at Brookwood Hall. As we know, the portico has unfortunately fallen into a dangerous state of disrepair, and we're committed to restoring this historic building. Also, much-needed improvements to the wet pants sailing facility in Sayville, along with improvements to the Brentwood Country Club. So it is pretty, spread out across the town, so many of these projects. So, in any event, we will move to the next bond resolution for town facilities at $2,050,000. Any questions? Motion?
Motion to vote on it.
Motion by Councilman Guadrone, second. Second by Councilman Lorenzo. Roll call on the vote.
Councilman Guadrone.
Yes.
Councilman Lorenzo. Councilman O'Connor. Councilman McGelway. Madam Supervisor?
Yes. Third, it is approved. The third bond resolution is for gas system upgrades, $500,000. Any questions? Hearing none. I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Councilman McGelway, second.
Second.
By Councilman Lorenzo. Roll call on the vote.
Councilman McGelway.
Yes.
Councilman Lorenzo. Councilman O'Connor. Councilman Guadrone.
Aye.
Madam Supervisor?
Yes. The fourth bond resolution is for road improvements at $10,700,000. Are there any questions? Hearing none. I'll make that motion. Do I have a second? Did you make that?
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Councilman O'Connor, make the second. Roll call on the vote.
Madam Supervisor?
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor. Councilman Guadrone.
Yes.
Councilman Lorenzo. Councilman McGelway.
It's unanimous. It's approved. The fifth bond resolution is for construction of sidewalk improvements at $600,000. Any questions? Motion by Councilman McGelway, second by Councilman Guadrone. Roll call on the vote.
Councilman McGelway. Councilman Guadrone.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor. Councilman Lorenzo. Madam Supervisor.
Yes, it is approved unanimously. Next is for the acquisition for heavy-duty vehicles and equipment at $2,090,000. Any question? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Guardron, second. I'll second. Roll call on the vote.
Councilman Guadrone.
Yes.
Madam Supervisor.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor. Councilman Lorenzo. Councilman McGilway.
It is approved unanimously. Seventh is for park improvements at $1,900,000. Any questions? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Guardron. Roll call on the vote.
Councilman O'Connor.
Aye.
Councilman Guadrone.
Yes.
Councilman Lorenzo. Councilman McGilway. Madam Supervisor.
Yes. Next is for turf field replacement at $1,850,000. Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Guardron, second by Councilman McElway. Roll call on the vote.
Councilman Guadrone.
Yes.
Councilman McGilway. Councilman O'Connor. Councilman Lorenzo. Madam Supervisor.
Yes. Next, bond resolution is for dredging at $500,000. Motion? Motion by Councilman Lorenzo, second. I'll second the resolution. Roll call on the vote.
Councilman Lorenzo. Madam Supervisor.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor. Councilman McGilway. Sorry, Councilman Guadrone.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Next resolution is for parking lot improvements at $1,600,000. I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
I have a question, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Either Mr. Ludwig or Commissioner Owens. Does this include the 1.6 million for parking lot improvements? Does it include the Central Islip Community Park at the corner of Clayton and Lowell?
I'm very happy to say Commissioner Owens is here, and he will answer that one specifically.
Unfortunately not.
Okay, so I know I have discussed with you the plan for that. Were we awaiting some grant money for that?
That's correct.
Thank you, Commissioner. So we have a motion and a second on that resolution.
Second,
Roll
I'm
call.
sorry. You were the first. Okay, sorry. Thank you.
Roll call on the vote.
Madam
bond.
Supervisor.
Yes.
Councilman Guadrone.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Lorenzo. Councilman McGilway.
It is approved unanimously. The next is for traffic signals at $200,000. Any questions? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Guardron. Second by Councilman McElway. Roll call on the vote.
Councilman Guadrone.
Yes.
Councilman McGilway.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor. Councilman Lorenzo. Madam Supervisor.
Yes. Approved unanimously. Next resolution is for the acquisition of radios at $250,000. Are there any questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Councilman Lorenzo. I'll second that motion. Roll call on the vote.
Councilman Lorenzo. Madam Supervisor.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor. Councilman Guadrone.
Yes.
Councilman McGilway.
Approved unanimously. Next, the final bond resolution is for drainage improvements at $4,400,000. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman McElway, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? I'm sorry, roll call on the vote.
Councilman McGilway. Councilman O'Connor. Councilman Guadrone.
Yes.
Councilman Lorenzo. Madam Supervisor.
Yes. Passes unanimously. And that is it for the bond resolutions. Thank you, everyone, for, I know a lot of effort went into planning this, and a lot of improvements across the town. Item 26 is an authorization for supervisor to enter into a collective bargaining agreement with the United Public Service Employees Union for the Town of Islip's Lifeguards Unit. Are there any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 27 is an authorization for town clerk to advertise for a public hearing to consider amending the Islip Town Code to implement regulations governing the operation, licensing, and oversight of pedicab businesses and operators within the town of Islip. Are there any questions? This is just for a public hearing. Motion by Councilman Guardron, second.
Second.
By Councilman McElroy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. The final item on the agenda is an authorization with the supervisor to execute a professional services agreement with Signature Technologies, Inc., DBA ComNet Software for the installation of an expanded multi-user flight information display system at Long and MacArthur Airport. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Guardron, second by Councilman Lorenzo. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. And guess what? There is no other business to come before us this evening. Oh, hallelujah.